Bussin with the boys.
Bro.
There you go.
There it is.
Good deal, Mitch. You want to kick it off?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 253, 252? 253, because it says up here, Jack, 252. Episode 253 of Bussin with the Boys. We're so glad to have you. I'm Taylor Lewan. This is Will Compton. Today's show, we're getting into the good, the bad, the ugly. We're doing Twisted Question, obviously presented by Twisted Tea. Talk about the poopiest moments. That'll be in the Ryan Blaney podcast. Will have an overly direct take for us, and then more Barstool Survivor and all the stuff going on there. Big weekend.
College football playoff.
The whole
I
thing.
Cannot wait to dive into that. NFL weekend, couple surprises in there.
Couple surprises. But one thing that's never a surprise is the Chevy Silverado, the presenting sponsor of this show. There's a new family with unstoppable grit and determination, and they are the official partners of Bussin with the Boys family, and that is the Chevy Silverado ZR2 family. The first ever Silverado heavy-duty ZR2 joins the franchise to make the ZR2 the only truck brand with a full line of trucks ready for wherever your off-road adventure takes you, with the exclusive Multimatic DSSV dampers, rugged mud terrain tires, and up to 14 available camera angles. Chevy Silverado ZR2, Silverado HD ZR2, a family with commanding and unstoppable grit. Head over to Chevy.com and check over Chevy Silverado and the family of Chevy ZR2s, the official truck of Bussin with the Boys. You ever get sick of it?
Of the ZR2?
Yeah.
No, since I was on the hunting trip in Texas over the weekend, all the boys were asking me about the ZR2.
Were they really?
Because they were like, hey, Will, do you still have that? Not going to say the truck that I used to have. Hey, Will, you still have that truck? I was like, no. I was like, ever since the boys got in with Chevy, I was like, I came out of pocket and got that ZR2.
Came out of pocket for the boys.
Like, they were asking about the ZR2. They're like, is it
Trying
kind
to
of
fill
like
that to the window.
the Z71? I guess the Chevy trucks used to be like Z71, that
Mhm.
package, like, kind of like that sporty off-road package. But I was giving them some game.
Yeah, you put them on?
Yeah, I put them on game, yes.
What's my boy Trent up to, dude?
Just being a man of the world, of the country.
Yeah.
You ask him where
True
he's
patriot.
Yeah, you ask him where he's from, and honestly, he could legitimately just say America, because he travels essentially all year round, just all over the country to go hunting.
With just his dog, right?
He has 2 dogs. What's the one dog that we were talking about? The breed that's like the most, they listen the most,
Oh, Malamar.
Yeah. He has
got
one,
one of
he has
those?
one of them. And it's a stud. But yeah, that thing does like everything he wants to do. Climbs up houses, jumps on cars, jumps up in his arms for
Right.
loving. But he's got a little like trailer bed that he'll just drive around with the boys.
Trent in high school, man, I never expected. I didn't know Trent very well, but you knew of Trent, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing what I feel like every man growing up wants to do at some point in their life.
He is.
There's a point where you're like, man, what if I just get a truck and a couple of dogs and just live on the earth?
Yeah.
And does he own a home?
Yeah, he owns a home there. It's out in Michigan. But yeah, he's all over the place. He was talking about this hunting trip they did with his brother, where they're just out in Utah and they're just camping, they're making their own fires, they're figuring out their own food, like doing all of the stuff that men, think about doing,
Hope to
but
accomplish.
not actually hard enough to do.
Right. It's one of those thoughts when you're watching it on a Discovery or something like that, and you're like, I'm gonna do that, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, it's a little cold. I think I'm just gonna sleep.
You think in your mind, like when it's going on, there's this part of you that's like, I kind of wish my back was up a wall like that. Like, I know I'd be able to do it. Nobody else would. And you're kind of like, yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
This bed feels kind of nice.
No one's taking me down.
Yeah, did you say before the Chevy had the Ryan Blaney?
Yeah.
We had
Ryan Blaney on.
If you're here for Ryan Blaney, this is the best thing to do, because Mitch does a great job putting together the YouTube, the chapters and everything like that. Or if you're on audio, you're on video, if you're on YouTube, number one, subscribe to the boys. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing to the boys, helping us out. But if you're here for Ryan Blaney and NASCAR talk and all that cool stuff, figure out in the description where the time stamp is at, and you can just fast forward there. I know everybody goes through a phase of, man, how long are the intros going to be? This is how Bussin with the Boys does the intros. We talk a lot about whatever, basically. It's not really an intro. It's just a full episode, and then the interview's at the back.
Right.
But just search in the description, find the timestamp, click on it. That's where that interview will be. Or if you're listening on audio, look in the description as well. It'll kind of tell you, and you can fast forward in case you don't want to. But we talk. This is
it. You're hearing it right now. And let me just tell you too, you can do what Will just said, jump forward, but we have a lot of fun on this bus.
Yeah.
And if you are joining for the first time, there's a lot of banter, a lot of good times. If you're missing your boys from back home, maybe you're traveling, you want a little piece of that.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. And I don't know if you guys heard the news. We're a top 10 podcast on Spotify,
yeah,
dude.
That's right.
Was that not surprising?
Top 10 sports podcast.
Hold on. Top 10.
just for
top
clarity.
10 podcast in America. Sports.
Well, he's just saying if it's football, like we're talking all sports.
Yeah, we're sports, baby. We do it all. Ryan Blaney's a perfect example, dude. NASCAR Cup Series champion. Had him on there. How much do you know about NASCAR, Will?
I don't know a whole lot, but I learn a lot.
And we've seen Talladega Nights multiple times, so you can tell that was a hard-hitting interview.
I asked the hard-hitting questions. Is shake and bake real?
I'm going to give you a little spoiler. Will asks if the shake and bake is a real thing. The handshake. If he's got handshakes with the NASCAR drivers. That's part of the big question we asked.
Hang on. I meant when I asked the shake and bake, it was more of the slingshot. It was more of like the operation within shake and bake, not just the handshake.
Yeah. We developed into that, but it started with.
Yeah, when somebody said slingshot, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I meant by the shake and bake.
Somebody, the other person on the podcast, me.
Yeah.
You were
top 10 sports podcast.
Yes. And that's big.
Yeah, I mean,
Thanks to who?
Thanks to all you guys, everybody listening, especially on Spotify, everybody who's doing Spotify rap.
You're trying to get love. Thanks to all the boys in the back, man. You guys are the best. Just pulling up on multiple computers, our show running through all the time. No, but you guys listening all day, every day. It's awesome. It's crazy that people
I was surprised.
Blows me away. Hey,
I guess
you don't always see it, Jack, huh?
It's like an expectation you always want to have, like being a top 10, but actually seeing all year long we're a top 10 sports podcast. Because sometimes I check I'll check like a couple times during the month just to see like where an episode might have landed, just to see if I can get a beat on how the rankings kind of work in Spotify. I know we're always top 50 on both Apple and Spotify. Sometimes we've been fortunate enough to be like top 5, top 10. But I never know how like the algorithm works. So when we saw the 2023 top 10 sports podcast in the US on Spotify and we're sitting there at 10, I was fired up.
It fires you up. Because you just know 10's the best place for us to be.
Right.
Because if we're at 1, it's
the
over.
Boys snuck in there. Yeah. If you're
in.
at 1, they're all coming for you. New Heights, like you have the asterisks with Taylor Swift. They are either way. They're always a top. They're a top podcast at all times. Even pre Taylor Swift, they were massively up there,
murdering it.
But now it's like the asterisk it's not even close. Top number 1 podcast. Part of my take. They've been top 2, shuffling around from 1 to 2 like for years. Bill Simmons has always been up there. I'm not really familiar with the fantasy footballers. No disrespect to the boys. Pat McAfee Show, JJ Redick, Ryan Russillo, Paul George, The Ringer. I mean, that's insane company to be in.
Yeah. That's just cool.
Yeah. Shout out. Just awesome. Shout out everybody for listening, man.
Yeah,
all the Spotify rap. And by the way, I know we're going to get into the good, bad, and ugly. The good is the way Spotify every year, they just seem to get better at the Spotify Wrapped, and everyone gets excited about going through their Spotify Wrapped. I know last week in the shop, we're all going around with our Spotify Wrapped. We're getting, the old man over here is getting made fun of by whatever my character was at the end of Spotify Wrapped.
What was your character?
It was Cyclops or something like that. Basically, I wear whatever I'm listening to, I wear it out music-wise.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much just a one-stop. Like if I hit the like when Mitch went off in Nebraska with the
Loyal and Devoted is the Cyclops.
Okay by Gunna. And I was like, okay, this is a nice little jam right here. I probably listen to that jam for like 100 times in the next few days. So I'm like one of those guys. I wear it out until I just absolutely hate it.
Yeah. I feel like that's the only way to listen to music. Once you find a song you like, just listen to it until you can't stand the thought of hearing it again.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. So
Rue's music made it in there. Odessa, a Higher Ground. We went to Bonnaroo last year. Shout out the boys Jack and Garrett for putting me on Odessa. I said that right, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Rue absolutely loves that song, but that was kind of the number 1. But shout out Spotify for the whole rap thing. I feel like it gets better every year and everybody anticipates it. So maybe that's kicked off the good, bad, the ugly.
Maybe it has.
Do you want to rattle off your list?
Yeah, I'll do my.
Do we want to say our list and then kind of like the ones that we were both on, then we talk more about those? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sure, you can go. You want to go first?
Sure. On the good that I have, Rue watching her first Christmas movie.
Huge.
That was a shout out. If we had shout outs on here, like that's my shout out. It was Mickey Saves Christmas. Nice little 20-minute piece.
Mm-hmm. So it's a show.
Yeah. Well, it's apparently, I think it's a movie.
Like a short movie?
Yes. Yeah.
Does it have a beginning to end?
Yeah.
That's a show, brother.
A beginning to end is a movie. What?
Beginning to end, 20 minutes long. That's a show.
A show is they leave you a cliffhanger on the end.
Not on kids shows. Is it a movie? Mickey Saves Christmas?
Movie.
Okay.
In your show description was
I jumped around a little bit in my head, and you guys heard not the good stuff.
Packers. I think Packers are on a little run. I got a little something later on about the Packers. The playoff committee. I thought the playoff committee got it right. Contrary to everybody being very upset about Florida State, I think that Florida State fans and everybody we can get into that because I'm sure that'll be a big topic of conversation. 49ers just taking the Eagles out to the woodshed and beating their ass. Dallas Cowboys, I thought that they had a great win against Seattle. They're always used to being the front runners, not being used to get hit in the mouth. They got hit in the mouth of the Seahawks. They won a close game finally. Mike Evans, 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. So I feel like that's like a knock on wood. That's like a knock on wood if you're with us type thing. But yeah, that was my good list.
Yeah, I liked all those. My good. The gunner, number 4 for Iowa.
Yeah.
Did you see that
Great
punt
shout out.
return? Him hawking him down, slides, and then runs back, pushes one of his players out of the way that was going too slow to stop a touchdown. I thought that was cool.
That's textbook.
Textbook.
Special teams coordinators. It's
Yes.
and there's not only their clips to show all the new rookies who come in, but it is also, as I tweeted, in their spank bank. Like that is
Yes.
football porn for a special teams.
That'll be shown by not only the Iowa Hawkeyes for generations, but it'll be shown in a special teams meeting probably with every Power 5 team from here on out.
Yeah, and their wives. Like
You
they're
guys
gonna go
wanna
home and
play
they're gonna be
here?
like, hey, check this out.
Yeah, you want to come play at this school? You want to play at South Carolina? This is what we need to see out of you.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Will it also be shown on what not to do?
Oh,
Because he overran the guy. It was kind of his fault from the beginning.
Hey, Mitch, can you bring it up, Jack? Yeah, you're right. You have a point there. But if you mess up
Well,
and to finish a
yeah.
play,
let me
Right.
finish my good, and then we'll get into
yeah,
it.
you keep running off the good about
Michigan
Jack.
being
brings that up.
3-time Big Ten champs. That's just the standard now. Titans losing in overtime. That's a win-win for the Titans. You show that you can put points on the board and you lose, helping your draft stock. That's a win-win. 49ers are the king of the NFL. Dolphins, I think they're legit. I know they haven't really played. They don't play anybody till Christmas, but I think they're legit.
I like the Dolphins.
Yeah, I like the Dolphins. And then it was just cool to see Joe Flacco in a Browns jersey.
Yeah, shout out
Fuck it,
Joe
dude.
Flacco.
That was just cool to me. I love that. Let's see this thing. What is this? It wouldn't be a highlight, a Iowa game without a.
Okay, now go back. Yeah.
How are you coaching that up?
So it seems like the way that their gunners operate, yeah, that's tough. Returner did a great job kind of setting up that outside and getting vertical.
Mm.
But it's like that drill you work on where you're using your mate. If you want to miss a tackle in number 4 situation, you want to miss it on your left shoulder. There are special teams coordinators, the way they game plan is shoot across the bow. So 4 would be going across the bow. And if you missed, you're making him hesitate and step back because I mean, going full board down on a returner and you feel like you're one-on-one that's just the hardest tackle. The expectation is obviously make the tackle and get him on the ground, but you try to equip and give the tools that, hey, if you don't think your job's gone if you miss the tackle. So it seems like they're trying to keep the cup. So keep your leverage. If you miss, you want to miss on the left shoulder. That returner did an incredible job of fucking putting both those guys in the dirt, just getting vertical.
Kind of slipping number 4 and then jump, cutting out of the way and getting loose. Kid's a freshman. A lot of opportunity there in the future for him, that young stallion. So yeah, that was my good, man. I felt
what a slow way of winning the Big Ten championship.
I know, and that's kind of
you're
where
right. That is the good. I kind of just lost sight that you guys did go through back to back to back. Like that's a big that's a big feat.
Yeah,
as far as the Big Ten
first
championship,
head coach to ever do that since the Big Ten championship.
So John Harbaugh, throw him in the good.
Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah. Sorry, Jim.
I think John's a great coach too, though.
John. They're doing some really good things out there in Baltimore.
No one's got it better than both of them.
Yeah.
I'll say that. No, I think that was cool. I was sick, dude. I got to stop betting on teams that I like. I really got to stop doing it. And that's like a conclusion. I'm going to bet on Michigan again when they play Alabama. But like at this moment, literally we're winning 10-0. And I'm thinking, all I can think about is my bet and how I have Michigan minus 21.5 and the over, which is 35. And I thought, you look at the records, the way they beat Penn State, or Iowa lost to Penn State, and the way Iowa lost to Minnesota, and the way Michigan played Penn State and Minnesota. It's like, oh, this is an easy dub. And it was technically an easy dub, but it didn't cover the total points, which I expected Michigan to do.
I'm telling you.
I was sick. I was really, you guys saw how much I bet on that game. Just so emotional. So emotional. And I'm not going to do it again, but I'm definitely going to do it again. Like, I know I'm As soon as we get to the college football playoff, I'm going to tell myself all the things I need to tell myself to make sure that, and I'm going to put in a crazy parlay that's only pro Michigan, like I did when we were at going to Louisiana.
Yeah, and it didn't hit.
It's not going to hit. It's not going to hit. But 3-time Big Ten champs, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. Are you confident? Now, here's a question to set all this up, because it could be a conversation with
Do
everybody.
we want? I know this conversation is coming. Do we want to finish bad and ugly? Because this is going to be a long-winded conversation.
Hang on. What I was going to ask is, so I have the good playoff committee. Did you have them in there in bad or ugly?
No. I thought I didn't put them in there. I thought they did a really good job, though. I think the 4 best teams, besides Georgia not being in it, I think Georgia should have probably been in it. But where do you put them in? Because Michigan obviously needs to be in.
How do you think Georgia should have been in? Like, what was your 4?
I think if you're gonna keep a team out, you keep Alabama out, going from 8 to 4, jumping 4 spots, and then moving the number 1 seed back 4 spots.
But how are you not going to put, if Bama just beats the number 1 team in the country?
That's why we need the 12
on a neutral site. Yeah, 12-team one would have been a lot of fun.
It'd have been perfect.
But how, like, to you, how are you going to? Are you just saying based on where they're ranked, you don't put them in there? Because it's like Bama's literally showing that they're better and beat the number 1 team in the country. So why would you have Georgia in the one that can go get it all and not Alabama?
I don't disagree that Alabama should be in this playoff. It's hard for me to not have Georgia in it, because let's say this game, let's say it was September, just like Alabama losing to Texas.
Yeah.
If Alabama beat Georgia in September, and Georgia goes and wins the SEC, Georgia's in it.
Right, because they avenge their loss.
Right. They avenge their loss. But I'm saying, to me, it's like, you can't put Alabama in without putting Texas in, and Washington has to be in, and Michigan has to be in. So I agree with the 4 spots. But from a Georgia's perspective, you win 2 national championships in a row, and you lose 1 game, you're 29-1 in the last 3 years.
So what would your 4 would have been? Georgia instead of Alabama?
I think the committee got it right. It's hard. If I was going to like argue something, it's going to be Georgia, because I think they're one of the 4 best teams.
Anybody else feel like the committee didn't get it right? Gary, you're in, so
yeah,
I know you're excited. Jack, Mitch, JP.
You just kind of have to feel bad for Florida State. I agree with them not being in it. Like, if Jordan Travis was playing, obviously they would be in there. And JP brought up a good point this morning. Like, you almost wish Jordan got hurt in the championship game and they still won, because then it would have like a better reasoning for them to get in. But you just kind of have to.
Herb Street had a good comment about it. Like, if JJ McCarthy gets hurt in the way that Florida State got hurt, they wouldn't be in it. If Alabama's quarterback got hurt, if any of these teams' quarterbacks got hurt, if Penix got hurt from Washington, the same situation would probably happen to that team.
But I think late in the year, say if Penix gets hurt in the conference championship, then it kind of hurts college football, because you could miss out on an opportunity like when Tua comes in for Jalen Hurts, and it's like this magical, oh my gosh, who's this backup? He's elite. I'm glad it didn't play out that way.
That's a great point.
But
when I was after the Michigan game, and I was trying to figure out in my head who's going to go where, like trying to play that game in my head, I looked up 3rd-string quarterbacks that won the national championship, and was it Cardell Jones from Ohio State? 3rd string, played 3 games and won the national championship. And Ohio State was, obviously was allowed in it and all that. So I really thought Florida State was going to be in it. I really did.
Yeah, it's tough too. Like, you go undefeated 13-0, and you have a team that is embracing the next man up mentality, like the Cordell Jones of the world. Tua's. Yeah, again, frustration is definitely like justified.
Yeah, I love the head coach's statement he put out. Disgusted was in the first 3 words. Because if you're Florida State, if you're Tallahassee, you got to be sick right now.
Yeah, they are.
Because you had a good ball club, you had a good team, you guys played good teams, and you beat good teams.
The good thing is they're getting to play in the Orange Bowl against Georgia, which I think that's a big time
Georgia's
game.
Gonna mop the floor with them, though. Because if they would have let Florida State in,
it just proves that it was the right decision to keep them out of the playoff.
Absolutely.
I think that they have a more they're going to do the thing to where, say they beat Georgia, we're national champions. They make the rings, we're national champions. We went on
like UCF,
like UCF did.
Yeah, they should do that. They should absolutely do that. What were you going to say, G?
Georgia is opened against Florida State as a 14-point favorite.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
And it might go up.
But we've seen teams as high as 9.5-point favorites lose. Oregon, Washington.
that game?
Washington
What did you
showed
think
up
about
big.
that?
Washington showed up big.
I thought they were going to run away with it in the second half. I thought they were. Because they were what, over 10 points up, right?
Right.
I know. It was a good weekend of college football for sure, aside from Michigan, Iowa.
So how do you feel about Michigan pulling Alabama as their first game? Because obviously you see. So starting off my bad is Michigan's reaction to Alabama getting pulled.
Yeah, that I didn't like that reaction either. But people want to just say oh, it was because they felt bad for Florida State. I thought they were going to play Florida State. I did too. So my first reaction was
That's what you wanted, right?
yeah, because here's
your team.
This is the most logical thought process. Is if you want to have success, you got to go through hard times, but you want the path of least resistance. Everybody does. Everything we want to accomplish, we all want to do it, but we want the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
That path is obviously Florida State, and they're undefeated. And so you're like, yo, come on, Florida State, get in this thing. And then when they see it, they're like, fuck. And for me, the last time Michigan played Alabama was 2012 in the Cowboy Classic.
Oh, I think they played them again in 2019.
Did they play them again?
Something like that. They got beat. They got beat
Nice.
pretty good too.
I didn't know that. So the last time, so my taste in my mouth is like, God damn, the SEC, the Alabama. I'm thinking we'll get them at the end, a national championship. And I've said this to you guys this morning. Like we all knew here that Michigan was going to win the Big Ten championship, whether we liked it or not. We all were like, Michigan's
There was
probably.
a shot. Iowa had a shot.
We all knew that Michigan was going to win the Big Ten championship. This is the next step we got to take. This is the best team Michigan's had in forever. And so, yeah, SEC, Big Bad Wolf. Alabama, the Big Bad Wolf for the longest time, the last 20 years. This is the underdogs. We're the underdogs, dude. We are the underdogs of college football. Go ahead. What was it?
No. It doesn't pertain to this. It does not pertain to this.
Well, it's the quote for them that I always say. One often meets his destiny on the path he takes to avoid it. They wanted Florida State. They got Alabama.
We just dropped a gem out
That's
here.
the fourth time I've heard it this morning.
That's all right. Now now everybody gets to hear it. Everybody gets to hear it. Hey, like we're trying to get you on the track of hey, you got to be the big bad. To me, it's like you're the team that wants to be the bad boy of college football, right? Like the whole NCAA has been against them. So it's like embracing that, hey, we're the bad boys. We're number one. Like whoever fucking wants it.
Yeah.
It's you against that. It's Michigan versus everybody. Then when they pull and it's like, oh shit. Damn.
Yeah, I did not like that.
It's a tough start.
I texted some boys. I was like, I'm going to need an explanation on that reaction.
And then you're navigating it as you should. You're trying to take a moment. Hey, fear can be an option, I guess, because now you want him to be an underdog story. But this
what does
isn't
Mike
an
Tyson
underdog
say
story.
about fear?
Tell us.
Fear is like fire. All right. If you use it properly, it can feed you. It can keep you warm in the winter. It can support your lifestyle. But if you let it get out of hand, it can cause fires. It can cause damage. It can ruin your entire life. Fear is a healthy thing to have.
And if Michigan is having that conversation right now, that is we got to have this conversation because here's the energy in the room.
Yeah, I agree. And I like I said earlier, I didn't like Dave's approach to it. Like
Dave was the big bad wolf. Like, hey, whoever wants it.
I get it. And it is inevitably going to be whoever wants it. But when you're behind closed doors, as they should have been in that moment, and you go, oh, fuck, yeah, we got Alabama. We got what we wanted, essentially, is like, we want the SEC. We're going to get them. You got to take that moment and be like, no, I mean, you got what you want. Eventually, you're going to have to play the SEC anyway if you want the national championship. If you want to win the national championship.
Yeah, but that was the game. Like, this could have been the first time where SEC's left out of the college football.
Yeah, I don't think, I guess if, there was a reason not to put Georgia in, but who do you put in? Not put Alabama in it, but who do you put in if you don't put Alabama in?
It would have been Florida State. It would have been Florida State.
It would have been Michigan,
State,
Washington, Texas, and Florida
Yeah.
State. That would have been great. That'd have been the easiest way to go, boys. Been the easiest way to go. Listen, there are nerves to this game. To me, it's like I've been confident in every single game Michigan's played, but what have we seen in the college playoff? This is where I sit with you guys, and you guys have said to me all year, yeah, but they get dummy. Now we're here, and this is our opportunity to take the next step. We beat Alabama. We're winning the national championship. Plain and simple. That is going to happen. We are going to beat Alabama. We are.
Hey, have
You guys,
You don't even believe that.
You know
what
what?
do you mean?
You don't believe that
Brother,
right now?
See, that's the issue with y'all. I can't talk my way through these emotions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
were 5-7. You were 5-7.
Hey, have you heard what?
Y'all don't even know.
Have you heard what Mohammed Salam says? Those,
me, Jack.
those who live in illusions die in reality.
You hear that, Will? You hear that, Will?
What? What illusion am I living in right
Nebraska every year.
now? Hang on.
Every year.
This.
Dude, you
Yeah,
are.
so what happens? I die in reality. So what? 10 toes down. I'm confident in whatever game we would play in.
Monday after they lost to Iowa, he goes, you can't tell me they're not going to go 6-0.
Based on the trajectory of the year and what we have in house
No,
and
you
recruits
gotta
that we can bring in, hey, we just landed a 4-star offensive lineman. We're landing cats.
Yeah.
Like,
Would you say a week ago? It doesn't matter until he signs.
yeah,
He's committed.
That's true. That's true. But
Michigan's gonna win. Michigan's gonna
Nebraska's
beat the
not
SEC.
even a part of this conversation. We're out of it. It's over.
It's over. It's right.
He's just saying you're talking through a lot of illusions right here, and you're about to die
I
in
get it.
reality.
I understand. Listen, I understand the war I deal with on when it comes to college football on this bus. I get it. And would I be saying I wasn't nervous about Alabama? Would I be lying? Yes, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous about Alabama. However, in a month, less than a month's time, Michigan is going to defeat Alabama and shock the entire world. Because people put bets in for Alabama to win the national championship this past
Hey,
weekend.
can you put up
Garrett
direct?
did.
Can you
Will
put
tried
up?
to, but he was in Texas.
Can you put up
I
the
did in
overly direct
August.
take?
He did in August. What were the odds in August?
So
700.
this overly direct take is brought to you by DirecTV. DirecTV is the ultimate destination for pro football, where fans can get their football fix this season. Whether you're watching the games live on TV or streaming, DirecTV has you covered, and you can get DirecTV without satellite. Again, you can stream, stop compromising, start watching football. Call 1-800-DirecTV for more information. My overly direct take is Alabama wins the national title. And it sucked that I couldn't put $1,000 on them when they were plus 480 when the college football playoff wasn't determined, but I still got them locked in at plus 200.
Great.
That's my overly direct
All
take.
right. My overly direct take, Michigan wins the national championship. I'll be betting that today.
Bet it right
I'm
now.
gonna bet it right now.
Right now.
Do the same amount you did for.
I don't have that much in my account.
What do we think about the Texas-Washington matchup?
I love it.
Yeah,
JP brought up a good stat earlier that they played last year in the bowl game. Which bowl game was it? Alamo Bowl, and it was only a one-score game. Alamo Bowl.
Alamo
But it was
Bowl.
only a one-score game. Like, I think Washington was one of those teams, too, that was kind of getting left out of the conversation for a lot of the college football playoff because they were 9.5-point underdogs against Oregon, which was wild. But Oregon was on a tear going into that game. So everyone figured and assumed that Oregon would win that game. But Washington, man, like, they showed up and taken care of business. Penix is awesome, but I do think a lot of people doubt Washington. They're not even talking about them to win the national title, even though they have went undefeated 13-0 in arguably the third best conference in the country. So I do think Washington has a great shot. I'm fired up for Texas because they won a statement game against, not like a statement game, but a statement win as far as how badly they beat Oklahoma State. Because I do feel like if it would have been close based on their close games with Iowa State, with TCU, then it was kind of like, I mean, yeah, Texas beat Alabama, but also the resume on the back half, they're not like this big bad wolf that's going to go into the college football playoff.
Their last two games, they scored 49 this past weekend, but their last two games, they scored 50 points. So they've made statements. Yeah.
Right, because Quinn was hurt as well. Everybody's like,
Right.
Quinn Ewers is hurt. He's going to come back. And he did bounce back in a big way. And I do think Texas has an unbelievable opportunity to beat Washington, who's undefeated, which is, we're in the college football playoff now. Like, this is the best four teams. But also, they go in, if it's Michigan, whether it's a revenge game, which I'd like to see against Alabama, I think the stakes would be so high. The hype train, the content, the trailers would be so high
Oh, yeah.
for Texas-Alabama rematch.
The amount of times you'll see that game played over and over and
Yeah.
over again for that week.
And what's awesome, too, is there's representation in 4 out of the 5 Power 5 conferences.
Right.
And again, it sucks that Florida State's not in it, but you get the best from every conference that's in it. And Alabama's on a nice heater right now. A lot of excitement in Tuscaloosa.
I'm just glad the committee did the right thing.
Yeah, it was so
I
hard.
feel like this is the first time they've actually said, okay, this is the 4 best, not the 4 deserving.
Right, which a lot of people are excited about and happy about, but then there's a lot of people who's really pissed off that, hey, does the regular season not matter, which is justified. It sucks. At the end of the day, it's like, who would win? If it goes back to Saban last year, like if you put them in, who'd be favored?
Right.
Who would Vegas favor? If you have Alabama and Florida State favored right now in a game, who's going to be favored? And it's going to be Alabama by probably double digits. So
If Georgia's got them by 14.
yeah, if Georgia's got them by 14, Alabama, it would be by double digits. So for that, it's like those reasons is why Alabama is in, and it's the best 4 teams versus, the most deserving teams. I'm fired up.
Bet's been placed.
You got it? What'd you put in?
1,500.
What are the odds?
180.
180.
Payouts like 4,200,
Mm-hmm.
4,230.
Glad you're in it. Yeah. Let's go. What? Are you all right? What's it?
No,
what
I'm
was
good.
that? What was that look?
Just you in general, bro.
No, usually you
You
give a
were the
nice little,
problem.
you get a little laugh at the end, like to where we understand it's a joke, but it doesn't feel like there's a joke.
No. I'm trust me. Everything's fair.
I got you.
Everything's good right now.
Yeah, listen. I've been public about it. I do want you guys
Trust
to
me,
go
I know
down.
you've been public about it.
Like when Alabama got drawn, I was like, oh yeah, nowhere to go now, nowhere to go. Because I was like, man, I hope it's not.
can't fucking wait, dude. When we win, oh my
Because
god.
when Florida State was like, when they were up for it, I was like, man, we can't have them. Like, guys, this is all hands on deck. Like, you need Michigan to go through you need them to fully earn this national title. If they're gonna get it.
Alabama, you beat Alabama, and then you play Texas, you beat Texas. Then there's no argument.
There's no sleeping on Washington.
If Michigan wins this, there's nothing else for you guys to say. There's no asterisk on anything.
The asterisk will be there, but there very much will be a hands-off handshake.
I also have an overly direct take, and it's that Garrett is a worse winning fan than I am.
How so? How so?
So to go along with Taylor's direct take, the ugly that I had in my ugly list was Garrett thinking he knew what losing really was.
Can I explain a little bit?
Yeah, you can explain. You can explain.
Like I told JP this morning, because he said he was going to bring it up. After reading
The
it
man of
in your
chaos.
response, I was like, seeing it how it came off. But I think I left the most important word out as the kid was like, Mom, I'm not used to losing. And so in my head, I'm like, this kid's going to have a tough life. But I can see how it was taken from you. But then you know how to stand on business regardless.
Yeah, but your business, that was, that was a ratio that you can't come back from.
You see my other tweet? You see my other tweet?
Garrett's got
Which one?
2,000 followers.
Probably.
About a ratio.
I probably
Yeah,
saw.
well,
What a
bully
scumbag.
ball. Bully.
That's a ratio you can't come back from. It's like Will's like approaching 400,000 followers.
Will has so many people that
Fucking
ride
bodied
for
your
him
bitch ass.
too.
Yeah, so
many
what you're
people
saying,
that ride
like,
for you.
so what you're saying, so what you're saying is when you're like, so here's what the tweet was for Garrett, and go follow the boy Garrett _ Garrett Hargis.
Appreciate
Your last
that.
name, right?
Yeah, appreciate that.
So
Known you
his
for 3
tweet,
years.
Just overheard a Georgia student say, "I'm not used to losing. Kid has no idea what real life is like." To which all the boys pretty much responded. JP's like, "Hey, well, come to South Carolina. Tennessee being down."
Those were
story
funny.
of all time from JP saying you have no idea what
Yeah,
life
so-
is like.
so-
And Taylor's like, you have no
Yeah.
idea what life
Yeah.
is.
And then and so I responded, this tweet is like a rich kid not getting the new iPhone. And you're saying from your stance, you're just saying it as the dialogue between him and his mom. You weren't saying it as an Alabama fan hearing a Georgia fan thinking this guy has no idea what reality is.
No,
Hey, hold on.
but afterwards, I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so terrible.
Let's go back to this ratio real quick because you did get 58 likes and you only got 104, Will.
It's a ratio.
But you have literally
You-
100, 200 times more followers than him.
And then you screenshot it and then put it out for the world to see to get it to a bigger audience. And then that's where the damage
And he
was.
didn't even
We're
tag
throwing
me.
flowers on the grave.
Didn't even tag me. Will screenshot it.
Will's the
cropped
king
it,
of that, dude.
Tweeted me.
Before we became on the show, I went on Twitter and I saw Will screenshotting Dave and I's conversation, and doesn't tag me or Dave. I'm just like, this
Because
dude.
Dave doesn't allow tags, so I didn't want to tag one, not the other type thing.
Yeah.
He was
Okay.
just subtweeting.
And then when I said random fan, I didn't want to tip off that I knew who the fan was. They had to figure it out themselves.
Man, dude, if only your school was as good at football as you were at Twitter,
Yeah, we'd be undefeated.
you guys would be at least making a bowl game. Man, fun times. You want to talk about sport clips?
Yeah, let's talk about sport
Go
clips.
ahead, kid.
your hair may grow fast, but after going to Sport Clips haircuts, you'll wish it grew even faster. That's because Sport Clips has the best seats in hair, and that may or may not be because they happen to be right in front of TVs playing sports all day, every day. Boys, that's right. They play sports in front of you while you're getting your haircut. We know that watching sports while getting a haircut sure beats watching your reflection of getting a haircut, which is why Sport Clips every day is clippers and curveballs, high tops and Hail Marys, and even waves and wickets if you're into that kind of thing. At Sport Clips, you can check in with the pros in men's hair and totally check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation and football. So yeah, come watch an endless stream of sports on TV while getting an awesome haircut. Sport Clips. It is a game changer.
Nice. Do you want to do our bad now? Since we've got
The only other bad that I have outside of Michigan's reaction was YouTube versus surviving Barstool.
Yeah.
I thought that was
That should be in the ugly.
Sucks. It is in the ugly and shit that gets you beat.
Right.
But
I'll just go through my bad real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
All right. Chargers win versus the Patriots. I think it's just the Patriots are so dead and the Chargers win by 6 points. That's crazy. Michigan's offense versus Iowa. Chiefs losing the Packers. People saying mom in a conversation as opposed to my mom. I don't like that.
So that's a pet peeve.
Yeah, it would be considered a pet peeve of mine. But I'll give you an example. I was in the shop today and somebody didn't drive their new car in and that person said mom had to go to the airport. And I was thinking, that's not our mom. It's your mom. So say my mom. You know what I'm saying?
If
you were saying if Bill's coming in town, like, oh, my dad's coming in town. You wouldn't say to me, dad's coming into town.
It gives
It's not our dad.
You were breastfeeding till you're like 11 type vibes.
All right.
Well,
Dad.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, listen, that's a fucking wild.
I mean,
What is that movie when they fucking curve the bullets? That's one of those
Wanted.
shots right there.
I mean, this is
Super
not taking a
unneeded.
shot at anyone in the shop. This is just people who say mom, or they'll be like, yeah, mom's out getting dinner for me, and it's weird to me. So I'm with you.
It sounds British to me. Sounds like
mom's
it's
out
like,
getting dinner. I guess the only way that place is if you're at their house and you're wondering where dinner is or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
You're hanging out with Garrett, and Garrett's like,
that one
"Mom's
was a tough example, but I see where you're going. I see where you're going.
Using mom instead of mom.
Right.
Well, I was gonna ask if it was a Southerner, but we know that it's
No.
not
No.
because I hear that's done a lot. Like they'll be like, "Yeah, daddy" or "mom."
Daddy's
Like
tough.
country ass people say it like that.
Yeah.
So did it bother you when Ryan was doing it during the interview?
No, the reason why I didn't is because when he said it, I literally thought to myself, Dale Earnhardt said the same thing. That must be a NASCAR thing. Like when dad's out there racing, I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. That to me, that sounded cool. And it might be a difference between dad and mom too.
Or just how much you like the other.
No, because I like the other person more. The person that says mom more than Ryan. I don't even know
Maybe.
Ryan.
These guys are like of professional status, so maybe you're just like accepting it. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm just sucking them off.
Yeah.
No, I just think when you put like a southern accent, blue collar type shit, when you have that vibe about you, this shit just sounds cooler. Yeah, you could say things that I couldn't say with this voice. It wouldn't sound near as cool as them saying it. And then my last one is Iowa being in field goal territory twice and getting 0 points, turnovers, fourth down, that type of thing. But that's the bad. But
I had ugly in there that lined up with yours. I think it was the Patriots. 6-0. What a wild score against
Just
the Chargers too. And that's 3 consecutive games that the Patriots have held teams under 10 points and lost. I think that staff is done. I think the staff goes.
Chargers covered too.
Yeah.
you see PFT, his take, doing a trade of Vrabel for Belichick.
I think
Yeah, I don't see that
wouldn't be
happening
good.
either.
I think that would be good for the Patriots. I don't think there's upside for the Titans.
Yeah, that's why I throw a
Belichick.
little we in there though. That fired me up. The Titans
Yeah.
Y'all saw that video of Belichick? He gets down.
coming out of
he
that.
gets
Yeah,
down. I'm just saying based on the resume of the gossip out there is that he would be lined up and set to go. Like it's going to be a breakup in the offseason, and him and the staff or him would go out to LA, the Chargers. Because there's an established quarterback, and that's where Belichick, obviously flourishes more with not developing a quarterback, but having somebody that's already ready to roll, and then fixing culture, fixing defense. And it's a great spot to go to retire. Like you're out in California.
yeah.
Where money's not an issue for Billy B. So
Yeah, I
that's the
just don't-
gossip. That's the gossip.
I think it goes to adapt or die. That phrase. And I just feel like Bill, I don't think he's going to be in a place that's going to have the type of patience that the Patriots, where he's won 6 Super Bowls, is going to be able to have to allow him to implement his time, like his type of philosophies and all his stuff. It's too fast. Like I think the game's changed too much. I think the players are different. Like in the 90s, early 2000s, I feel like it was like there was an obvious coach and then player. And if you can see the level of, I don't know if it's respect, but I'll use respect for lack of a better word, of players kind of being more equal to the coach now, to where I don't think it'd be received as well from these younger guys coming in. So I think when Bill leaves, like that's the end of Bill.
So you think he'll retire?
I think
he's out to get the winning record. Well, who has it? Yeah, Don Shula. I think he's
how
trying to get that.
many games is he out?
Yeah, so he'd need to put in a few more seasons, and like he'd need to put in a few seasons with a good team. I don't think you get that with the Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't think you get that with the Patriots.
I love how the first two are gentlemen in suits and hats, and then the third photo is Bill in sweat and a hoodie with a towel wrapped around him, like a sauna hoodie or a sauna towel. Yeah, I mean, I could see that for sure. It's not going to be at the Patriots, and if he goes to the Chargers, like they'll win more games.
Yeah,
he's a better coach than Staley.
And then again, defense, culture. I think those are the things that the Chargers are missing.
Yeah, the game
I'm not saying their culture sucks, because I do feel like everybody's vibes were up when we were there in training camp and everything else. But again, like when you're losing the way the Chargers lose, and you've spent the most on defense and the pieces there, and you just can't put it together. You know, people start to figure out when you're losing, it's coaches are trying to blame players trying to blame coaches. Everybody's basically trying to cover their own ass.
CYA.
28. So yeah, he would need to put in a few more seasons.
Yeah.
I just think it's in his blood to coach football.
Yeah.
But the other bad I had was, going back to Barstool versus YouTube. If people out there right now who are into the surviving Barstool Survivor, they dropped last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Phenomenal episodes, 7 figures worth of production put into this thing. And YouTube came up later in the week with like a warning or like an age restriction thing on the first episode, which was very suspect in Barstool's eyes, because there really wasn't a whole lot in the first one outside of Rico yelling. And then the second one, they did it again, but that's where it was like, I want to say it was the Kirk Minahan, blow up your house, Jeff D. Lowe. And they like really warned about that. And then they'd be on the verge of getting, is it the third strike? A third strike on YouTube, which the way YouTube structure and the way that they are set up is no one really knows how you gain strikes. Like there's no like cut black and white way of gaining a strike. They almost subjectively just say, hey, you got a strike. There's no way to fight back against it or throw a challenge flag or like kind of like wait till everything gets reviewed. It's you get a strike. And if there's 3 strikes on YouTube, your channel is gone and permanently in the gulag forever. You can't get it back. So clearly, as big as Barstool is on YouTube, they had to make a decision, either edit and censor it the way YouTube wants to censor, or put it behind Barstool.tv. Dave chose to go behind a paywall with Barstool.tv, charging people $9.99. There's a lot of arguments about that. Should he be charging? To me, the example and analogy that I would use is it's like when Andrew Schultz went out with on Netflix, or he was going to go to Netflix with a special. Netflix had the way that they're now adapting with comedians, but at one point in time, they were wanting to censor jokes, which comedians absolutely hate. So comedians would come out of pocket, put a lot of money into their production to produce their own special and sell it on their website. A lot of people get behind that and help out and promote and, buy into that with the comedian because it's like the small guy versus mainstream media. To me, it's the same situation. YouTube is wanting to censor this product that Barstool has with Surviving Barstool, which honestly, if you watch it, you understand all the context with absolutely everything. It's a great Survivor reality TV show. And so YouTube wants to censor it. Dave's not bending the knee. Hey, we're going to put it behind a paywall to help pay for, recoup whatever the 7 figures that went into all this production behind the scenes and everything else. So you can pay for it, $9.99, Barstool.tv. And the episodes are 4, 5, and 6 come out. They came out yesterday as you're listening now. They came out yesterday, tonight, and tomorrow. And then 7, 8, 9 will be coming out next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You'll see them all come out in succession. And then after that, the weeks following, you will get it for free on barstool.tv. If you're like me, I'm paying because I hate the FOMO aspect and I hate knowing what happens and people talking about it online, because clips will be coming out. It will be talked about. So that's kind of the entire conversation about it. It's like Dave went hardcore. Hey, we're not doing this. We're going this way. But if you're looking at it, it's legit. YouTube wanted to censor. Barstool doesn't want to. They're now going behind their own website to stream it. You have to pay for it. I know that pisses people off. This wasn't a bait and switch by Dave or Barstool. Those were all the facts of it. And so, yeah, if you're a supporter, I think what sucks is there were a lot of people texting me that weren't like in the Barstool fandom or anything else, that just loved the reality show. And like, hey, I don't know what's going on with these other characters, but I'm so bought in because of how valuable all the production was.
Right. Has there ever been a situation that you guys know of where Dave bait and switched fans?
No.
And so,
I don't
like,
think so.
yeah, that argument to me seems so wildly out of left field.
It's and you know how the mind
for the boys
shifts.
brand, right?
Yeah.
Like Barstool has always been for the people. It's like we're the community and we're helping
For the common man, by the
mainstream
common
society.
man.
Yeah. And so, but the thing that obviously can be a disconnect is the different tax brackets, obviously, and people being upset about $10. Like I went to Starbucks today and I spent $10 before a tip on 2 cups of coffee. Literally, and I know that was like the analogy people used in that. That literally happened to me today. And so that could be a place where I'm a little disconnected, but boys, like, is $10 a big deal to be paying?
What was your guys' thought on the whole thing with the Barstool and you? Because I had a couple different thoughts. It's like, I see that if that's how Dave would have started bringing it, because the backlash from it is like, okay, am I being the scumbag? Because I do think the framework was essentially to get to, hey, big guys wanting to censor us, we're not censoring. We think the war cry is going to come behind us.
Right.
There was a lot of all pissed off people like, you show us 3 free episodes, we're bought in. It's bullshit that you're now putting it behind a paywall. So I see like pros and cons of both. Me, I tweeted, I wanted a Kids Bop version. To me, it's like, do the edits, play by YouTube's rules, and make it extremely known that it is a edited down version. And then you got Dave's version, which is like Taylor's version. You put Dave's version behind somewhere else if people want to go do that. And to me, because what you lose out on with YouTube is the massive audience. Like, you get to go home, put on the YouTube app, and it's right there in front of you.
Right.
And you're like watching it like TV. And the people who are texting me are the kinds where, you know, every time you have to click and do something more, like law of numbers, you lose like 10% of people.
Right.
Every
The more
time you have
steps,
to go
the worse it gets.
Yeah. So to me, that's what sucks, because I know how much time and effort by everybody got put into this. You want the exposure to be there for those people from the product that was created, because in perpetuity, like, the views are just going to keep going up because of how good of a show it actually is. So I think it's just harder. If people are looking for it, it's barstool.tv. Support the boys. I truly think it's worth it. But again, I know everybody kind of sees it differently. Like JP.
I'll let you go in a second. But the shitty thing for you is you were having such a good showing. Those first 3 episodes, you were having such a good showing, and you just want as many eyes on that as possible.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
selfishly for you and for us.
Yeah, selfishly, even all the talent in all the contestants, like the things that are going to be coming storyline wise, I think are all time. And it sucks personally. It sucks team wise with the surviving cast. It sucks for the production crew behind it that put it all together, that you kind of just have to, you know, let Dave kind of lead this thing where he wants to lead it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the way you said it, though, like having like the Kids Bop version on YouTube. That way more eyes get on it and you're able to monetize that way. And
It's
then
like dumb it down to where you even make fun of
type
it.
of vibe. Yeah. Like you make fun of the production. It's an unfortunate editing. I'm sure the editing for that would be just absolutely shitty to do that in 3 days.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that could you really edit all of those things and put it out on YouTube while it's still relevant?
Which is a fair point.
As many employees as they have, you could give.
If you're not going to get off schedule with wanting to get it out the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Because what sucks is you got to take it down. Like, from my understanding, YouTube said you have 2 or 3 hours to take this down, or something was going to happen. And your concern is the strike, because you don't know how it comes to you. They don't actually say you're going to get a strike. You're not talking with anybody to where YouTube kind of tells you it just happens. It's gone. There's no reversing it. So it's a tough spot to be in.
I just don't know why, like, YouTube would go about it that way. If they don't just want, they have like, they just heard something and they're like, okay, we're going to censor this now.
It's like there's videos of the war on YouTube.
Right. There's like, crazy shit on YouTube, and that's like
was on YouTube,
right?
Yeah,
and they didn't take them down,
right?
But like Barstool, they're like literally telling Dave, like, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's like the last thing you want to do to Dave is give him an ultimatum, like just work with him. Because I'm sure if they came in a more gentle way, things would have been worked out so much easier, where he probably would have came to this
Like a
conclusion,
rational
as
conversation.
opposed to having 2 hours to be like, no, fuck you, we're not doing that. And then this whole thing has to happen. So, but $10. How do we feel about
your
that?
perspective when it was all going down?
Yeah.
Because we weren't in the office.
Yeah, I mean, I would pay that. It's amazing content. Even if I wasn't like friendly with you guys and I didn't know you guys, I would still buy it because of how, like, I guess I like a stoolie kind of just bought into it that way. But I also think on YouTube's end, it's so soft for them to just be like, no, you can't put this out there, because that first episode had what, 800,000 views, and
Yeah, I mean, it was gonna
12
grow.
hours.
Yeah, it was gonna be nuts, man.
so the amount of like, Dave's got to look at it in a business sense. Like, he's got to make the money back from the revenue that he's missing out on YouTube. And like $10 for 6 more episodes is like what, like $2 an episode. It's not even that, not that expensive in my opinion. Like, people can.
And then also, like, when that gets removed from YouTube, there's also kind of like a make right or a renegotiation with Factor, who spends all the money, because you're paying for 7-figure views per episode. You know it's going to be there. This one, it's more of like a wait and see how many people show up, because again, I hate it for the people who are coming in that weren't familiar, because they might not even be listening to this and fully understand that it's not there anymore. But you make people, the more hoops you make them jump through, the more of the audience you lose.
Right.
So it's
I'm
kind of
one
like
of-
a
I'm one of those people.
renegotiation. Yeah, it's kind of like a renegotiation and everything, that probably conversations that have to take place with Factor to either make right or figure out what the numbers say after. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Like, Jack came in after the first one, was like, dude, it was 90 minutes long. I didn't even know it was that long. Like, it just kind of flew by because of how much they pulled you into the story.
Yeah. They did such a great job with that, dude.
And obviously we talked about the $10. I don't think no one is going to struggle purchasing something for $10. It's a principle buy though. So for the people who are upset about it, I think that at the end, they don't want to spend $10 because at some point it was free. And some people just have an impossible time getting over that fact. And it sucks because even like our roommate, or my roommate, Kyle, he's not like a huge Barstool guy, but he's like knows some of the stuff, the ins and outs. And he watched that first episode and he was fired up about it. And then the next day, all this comes out. And so he makes plenty of money and he can afford $10, but he's not going to buy it out of principle because he's like,
Right, because the downside's like, I mean, that was a sweet episode, but I'm not gonna, like, yeah, if it's not available to me right now, right away, to where I can easily find it, it's just
I
not.
think it's not even the $10. It's having to go in and like put a card in. Like, even though that sounds so foolish and childish, but it is just a principle buy. So hopefully they get a bunch of people that are gonna purchase that. And they said 2 weeks after the initial finale, they're gonna release all the episodes for free.
Yeah. So you're going to get like Factor, the people that are in the most risk right now, they're going to get their views one way or another. It's just
Well,
gonna
if
take
it's
a little
behind
longer.
Barstool TV, it's people gotta go to barstool.tv to do it.
Mhm.
Which to me, that's the exposure part of YouTube you miss out on. Maybe in 2 weeks too, like, this is a time where you think about having some edit that out there that can go on YouTube. Because again, like, that's for like an audience that is not nearly as, bought into all the things that happen in the Barstool universe with every personality that's there. That's, to me, that's where the Stoolies kind of eat that stuff up, because you see a lot of like rivalries collide throughout the entire show.
And I mean, Dave has the reach. They have so many people. It's like on Barstool, not only Dave, but also the employees of Dave to do the work to like, be like, all right, you guys got to go watch the show. Like, put it on Twitter, put it on Instagram, so that people are driven to barstool.tv. It's on all of us, team.
Because it's like, do you think about the Rumble
Always
conversation? Do you think about the X conversation? If say it was like a thing with Twitter and Elon, then the experience of watching it's not the same, because you're just going to be consuming it on, your phone or an iPad or something like
Yeah.
that.
What's the deal with Rumble? Are they the same thing as YouTube?
Yeah, basically that would have been Rumble's trying being a competitor of YouTube essentially.
I mean,
But you'd almost assume Rumble would want Barstool to move all of their stuff to Rumble versus just the one show.
yeah, I don't think that'd be a good move for Barstool.
But in the meantime, until all these episodes come out, go to your next big event with Game Time. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. Browse through the Game Time app and talk about upcoming events in your area, concerts, playoff games, whatever it is. Game Time has you covered. Last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, easy way to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Game Time is the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. See the view from your seat before you buy so you actually know what to expect. All-in prices show your total up front, so you're not getting a great deal without hidden fees, or so you're getting a great deal without hidden fees. Jesus. Buy tickets in seconds with 2 taps. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code BUSSIN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code BUSSIN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The battle for the Houston Oilers, the jersey, the helmet will be coming soon again. Buy tickets there. Game Time.
Game Time. That would be awesome. If the Texans and the Titans played every year for like the first game was to decide who gets to wear them the next game.
Yeah,
I think
that would be so fun.
That would be sick. In a couple of years. We got to get back on track.
Yeah, so
we got a GBOT with the Titans.
The boys do.
That
tough
is,
loss. That was a tough loss. Tough overtime loss.
Yeah. Did you have any ugly? Because we're still
My
on
ugly.
We're 50 minutes in this episode. We're almost done with good, bad, ugly.
No, so my ugly was I said it in line with your bad, which is the Patriots losing 6-0, 3 straight under 10 points, and then Garrett thinking he knows what losing feels like, and we got to cover that. So I'm
crazy
solid.
by Garrett.
I'm solid. What's your ugly?
My ugly is the Chains guy getting his leg broken in that Saints game.
Oh,
Dog, that was insane.
Easy, man.
Ugly.
Gotta pull it up.
Yeah, pull it up. Ugly. This is more just because I feel bad. Georgia being out of the playoffs and Florida State 13-0 and they're out. Here's one for the world. NATO says prepare for bad news when it comes to war. That's not good. That's probably in the ugly category.
Oh, wait, what's the deal?
Yeah, I looked at it a little bit. They were referring to the war in Ukraine and how that needs to get figured out before, because if Ukraine starts to fall, then we're looking at WW3.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw a warship was a U.S. warship, not even a warship. It was like commercial, but
Look at that, dude. Look at this guy's leg.
that leg.
Oh my God.
guy's in
And
so-
you can kind of hear it. There's a couple of different clips where you can hear the guy screaming in agony. But that's as ugly as it gets.
Oh, that sucks, man.
And the thing's just dented to the side, dude. Oh,
Get paid enough for that.
no. And he was just going
No.
like, he's hyped, probably telling his family, like,
Do we
to
know
work
if
the
that
chains
gets
today.
covered for
Huh?
him?
Ask Dean Blandino.
if what?
Do we know if that gets covered for him? Like, you'd almost want the NFL to come out and say, hey, we're going to
Yeah.
take care of this.
I mean, Alvin Kamara should pay for it, right? But yeah, what were you going to say about the.
There was like we had a ship that I forget which country, but a country fired some missiles at it. Obviously, we intercepted the missiles, but that happened like, I want to say it was
Child's Play?
maybe like, I don't want to actually say what country it was because I might just butcher it altogether.
Yeah.
But that happened either this morning or yesterday. And that was apparently a big deal.
Have you seen all these like conspiracy theories? Like my algorithm on Instagram's like asking Alexa when World War III is going to start. The last one was November 25th. And legit, November 25th, I was like, fuck, is today the day? And it did start. But the next one is March 14th when China invades the United States.
Probably they
China's
invade
invading us?
Taiwan.
What's that?
They would probably invade Taiwan, which would make us have to get in war with
Are we a
China.
part of NATO? Because I know 45 was trying to dip. Did he ever dip?
No, I don't think he ever dipped.
Let's get political, boys.
Let's get in the war room.
Yeah.
I'll put my wrist background and throw it in there.
And this is my last ugly. This is a personal one. Is my kids turning my new cold tub into a potion.
Ooh.
I was watching the games yesterday, sitting on my couch, and my kid's like, "Daddy, come look what we made." And I was like, "All right." So I walked outside, and I see my cold tub, my outdoor cold tub lid was open, and I see dirt everywhere. And I'm like, "Oh, what'd y'all make?" Like, we made a potion. And I look in it, dude. I have a picture of it. I'll send it for people who are watching on YouTube. But I was tight. Leaves, rocks.
How'd you handle it?
dirt.
How'd you handle it?
I just took a deep breath.
When you saw it, you reach over, you look at it.
I looked at it. I looked in the thing. I go, guys, this stuff is important, Daddy. We can't do this because you could break it. And then I had to explain why it would break it. And I was like, and I literally walked around the corner and put my hands on my knees. Yesterday was low-key a defeating day for me, dude. It was a tough one for me. And I was just like looking at the ground like, God damn it, dude. And I walked back. I was like, all right, guys, let's start cleaning it up. And then they started complaining about how cold the water was. And I was like the grandpa from Holes. It's too damn bad. And like just letting them do their thing.
Should have made him drink the potion.
No,
They
my
made
daughter
it.
has been making like
you made it. Let's
know
see if
that
it works.
you know that like a soda brand called Olipop. Have you heard of them? My kids are obsessed with that. My daughter makes Olipop soup, which you basically just puts a can of into a bowl and then adds different ingredients, whether it be fruit or different things, and she just like eats it like soup. So they're all in the potions and all that right now. And
Yeah.
you know, it's
At
on
least
me.
you're having
It's
fun.
on me as a father. It got fixed. Everything's clean. Nothing got in the filter. The thing was off. Actually, it was like the best case and a worst case scenario. So we got it taken care of. But that is the shit that gets you beat.
Yeah, it's the shit that gets you beat. It
And you
falls
kinda
in
resent
line
your
with the
kids
definition.
the rest of the day. I had a hard time putting them in bed last night. I had a hard time with them. My daughter, my oldest, is having a hard time going to sleep. I did 5 things.
You're
with
like,
her.
let's read a story, and you just make it up
Yeah.
about how these
Yeah.
girls, they want to make a potion, but
These
it's in
bad
the
kids
wrong.
ruined one of daddy's things,
Yeah.
and they had to leave forever, and that was unfortunate.
This daddy hurt them.
Those kids later fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
It was just a bit of a deal,
You
man.
see how good of a dad I am. I don't do those things to you,
Right.
but just keep in mind how it could be.
Mm-hmm. It's like those videos where you see like the dogs, like one like they take like a toy dog in front of a dog, and they go eat the food, and they beat the shit out of the dog. And I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do that.
That is awesome.
That is fucking hilarious because the dogs are legit like, oh my god.
Yeah.
All right,
We kick it off. Ryan Blaney.
no, we got to do twisted question.
Twisted question.
Another opportunity for Mitch. I think he's 0 for on the year.
That's all right.
It's okay.
GBOT.
Got to
you
get
really
better.
help. You really help with the confidence going in each time.
Twisted Question is brought to you by Twisted Tea, the smoothest hard iced tea out there, perfect for pool parties, college game days. Keep it twisted with Twisted Tea. Grab a refreshing Twisted Tea today. Mitch Carson.
The king of alcoholic drinks.
Yeah. Before we get into Twisted, actually, we'll do it after. Twisted Question.
All right, this twisted question comes from JP. If the aliens were to invade Earth, which U.S. or which person in the world would you want to send to greet
The
them?
Rock.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, why the Rock?
Just a good representation of man. Like, hopefully the aliens are a little scrawnier. Hopefully they just have their gadgets and they see The Rock. They're like, yo, goddamn.
Who you sending, JP?
Elon Musk.
Yeah, Elon's definitely on the list.
Yeah, you got to throw Elon in there. I feel like if anybody's close to speaking the language, he probably knows something.
Mm.
He's got some of that tism.
I would put Chris Hemsworth up there over The Rock.
Really? Why?
Everybody's cooler with accent.
True.
Dude,
But-
let Donald Trump go, dude. Let 45 go. Give a firm handshake. Bring him in. You guys are doing a lot of great things up there.
Yeah.
Bring him into your world and just let
Hope your
Trump
success
negotiate.
continues.
Yeah. Hope we live to fight another day. Who'd you say, Garrett?
Dennis Rodman.
That'd be a great
Yeah.
one. That's kind of like an
Probably been in
alien.
contact.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just be like, hey, we're not so different, you and I.
Yeah.
Everything.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Jack, who do you got?
He was in a wild card, not someone that we can risk losing, but also it shows what not only American culture is like, but the U.S. So I'm sitting Joey Chestnut. Sitting Joey Chestnut.
But you can lose Joey.
I don't want to, but I feel like he's had such a good run for the last decade that like he might be in the back half
Get
of
a
his
statue.
career.
Get
Yeah,
a
we're
statue.
getting him a statue if he,
Here's a wild card. Dylan Mulvaney. Right? Just confuse him a little bit.
and then like half of the red states in America are canceling aliens. So I
Right?
don't know if we can do
The
that.
aliens are like, oh, we got to get the fuck out of here. Let's go to some other country. This is crazy. We can't get canceled.
And then they go to China, and then March 14th comes way sooner than we thought.
God. Yeah. Then they start helping him. You're right. We can't send Dylan.
That's a fun question. Who would you
Good
send?
job,
drop
JP.
in the comments who you'd send to meet the alien president.
You have your
I'm saying 45.
I think that's
Yeah. Not that we can not that I want him to die at all, but also it's like, you lose a soldier, you're throwing somebody out there that can,
that's war.
yeah, that's war.
So you're going to send 45?
I think
with,
so.
with the option of losing him?
You don't want to lose your best
Get
soldier.
the statue too.
Yeah. I
At
think
what cost, Will? They take Trump
content.
content.
If we're going down, they're deciding then and there if we're going down.
Imagine Donald Trump is abducted by aliens and then he's you know he would find a way to get a message back to America.
Yeah.
Look what I've done here.
Yeah. That's a good
Law
one.
Just sends back a message, law and order. He's trying to like write it in the stars. Yeah, Trump would.
Your days are numbered, Earth.
Yeah.
Before we get into the Ryan Blaney episode, Mitch, you were on a 2 dimes and a token. Shout out the boys. I feel like they're like a brand of Bussin' with the Boys at this
Minor
point.
league system.
Yeah.
It's like our AAA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in the farm system.
They're in our farm system.
Yes, I was.
How was it? Did you enjoy it?
It was down
Jesus
hey, for
Christ.
everybody wanting to know what the episode's like, it was a lot like that exchange.
Yeah.
No,
I listened to the whole thing. Thought you did a good
I
job.
appreciate that.
Got to see behind the curtain of Mitch Carsley and his process of coming to Bussin' with the Boys.
Got to take a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah,
I
I had
mean-
no idea you were a fan of the boys like that.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I was miserable in NASCAR, so I
Or
found,
NASCAR just catches strays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but NASCAR people are cool. My job was not cool. I'll preface it that way.
Okay.
But yeah, it was. I was a fan of you guys, like just watching pods and stuff, and then Will's tweet ended up sparking this, and then that text I got from Will was one of the most wild texts I've ever received.
Well, he was explaining his interview process. And he said he was on Zoom and JP was like, your camera was off, but it said JP Hovey and it was you. And he's like, yo, it's so crazy. I'm talking to Will Compton right now.
Will, when we sent him your LinkedIn profile photo.
Yeah, that. And when I received that text, I'm like, this is fake.
No way. Yeah.
The next
Nah.
one might have to be in the corner of the room.
And but yeah, and then it was cool to be in front of the camera rather than behind. But I mean, he's super cool. Jack's been on before. I think y'all two are going on soon. So
Ooh.
yeah, shout out, bro.
Brooke, nasty.
Brooks, the main guy.
Is there anything you wanted to address with it, bringing it up?
No, I
or-
thought you did your top 3 most athletic, and I thought you had the right 3 people in there.
Who was it?
Us 3.
you have to go and watch it. You have to
Oh, you
go
have
and
to
watch it.
But it was us 3.
Damn, my bad.
He put you at 2 though. He put me at 3.
I mean, if you want me to say, it was me, Will, and then Taylor, and then Jack was honorable mention.
Pussy ass.
I think right now, as we stand today, that's probably. I think that's probably a correct order. 5 years ago,
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's different. I mean, your knees are a bit banged
shaky
up.
knees. I got shaky knees now,
Yeah,
dude.
and there's nothing wrong with
knee
it.
syndrome.
I got shaky knee syndrome.
Will's
Get
got
up in
the
the
Will's got the
morning.
back.
Things
I'm
hurt.
just
Yeah,
the youngest one here, so I mean,
yeah.
most athletic.
We seen you kick a soccer ball.
Mitch came to our gym too this past
You
week.
ain't the most athletic, Mitch.
Booth camp.
Yeah, Mitch came to booth camp. Didn't run as much as I thought he would, but he was there.
just as much as you did.
No, you didn't, Mitch. It's hilarious.
that laugh.
I know, the
Yeah, that laugh
crippling.
is so disrespectful.
No, but you know what? After booth camp, you know, it was a little stinky, a little hot, sweaty. You know what I used?
Duke Cannon. They have a collection of holiday products coming up that men actually like. Give the boys something they deserve, like a big ass lump of Kohl soap from Duke Cannon. Duke Cannon's holiday gifts are made in the USA by humans, not elves. These gifts aren't going to break the bank and make the perfect gift for you and your boys, your father-in-law, that cousin you barely like. But they have a list of names and scents. Taylor, do you want to run through these names?
Yeah, dude, they got the big ass lump of Kohl soap. They got the illegally cut pine soap, Mall Santa's cough syrup soap. They got so many more, dude. But they're all holiday.
I love their
seasonal.
I love those names.
Those are fun.
Rudolph's much deserved nightcap. Oops.
Yeah. Oops.
All brandy homemade eggnog.
Whoops a daisies. That's a fun thing about Duke Cannon. You're getting fun scents and fun names.
Yeah, they bring out the theme. They embrace the holiday, which
Yeah.
is exactly what you want out of a brand that works with us.
If you're looking at the boys right now and you're thinking, boys, how do I go? How do I get this stuff? You can find their holiday soaps and gift sets at Target, Walmart, or just go to DukeCannon.com. Use the internet, boys.
But if you do go to Target, they have a nice setup. I was there the other day. They have a nice setup. Like the way they do the soap stuff out there, the scents and the deodorants, they got a legit setup.
I
It's
like
like,
that.
yo, we're the big swinging dick on campus.
I like that.
Duke Cannon.
Duke
Not for
Cannon.
clowns.
Titan special team coordinator has been relieved of his duties,
No.
according to Jim Wyatt.
Was a
That's- I
scary
mean,
day
that's-
on the special team.
Was it? I didn't get to catch it. That's when I was
We
flying
lost
back.
punts. We lost Stonehouse completely. Tannehill had laces out on a kick that we would have won the game essentially because we went to OT. And so Stonehouse is the normal
Holder.
the holder for the kicks, and so he took a really he might be done for the season.
Yeah, that was a bad hit. Did you see it?
His knee looked like the guy from the Saints. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't good.
But it like
And
kind of went out and
Stonehouse?
came back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went to block a punt, and his plant foot was on the ground, and it like you could see the hyperextension, and then come back, dude. It was tough.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Simmons got hurt. Derrick Henry got knocked
Henry,
out.
concussion protocol. It was a scary day.
One of those days. man.
Oh man, that sucks.
That's Auk, yeah.
Yeah, it's awkward.
Craig?
Bro.
Auk's such a good dude too.
I know.
Damn.
His son was just in the state championship last week, and he wanted me to send a little video.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I sent a little video. I said something like, what did I say? I said I had my 3 keys or my 3 things. It was like, get the fight started, talk shit, but not too much, don't get in trouble. And when you beat their ass, I forget what the team's name was, but you walk over, you take your Lettermans and you put it on their women.
Nice.
I kind of prefaced, I was like, hopefully I'm just talking to the locker room, no parents involved. Parents, get out.
Yeah, get out. Wait 5-6
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
It's just us.
Yeah.
Ackerman, man, that's tough, dude. Great dude.
Yeah,
Phenomenal
great, dude.
guy.
That sucks, man. You are getting to the point. It was like we were talking about, like, Vrabe is the guy for the job, but you keep losing and you end this way. Like, it's like all the assistants, all the coordinators head on a swivel because you got to change something up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, what a way to go out. What a way to introduce this podcast. Ryan Blaney, he was awesome. My favorite moment was when he was talking about getting drunk at Dale Jr.'s town.
Yes.
So that's a great,
Getting lost in an ATV
story.
through the woods.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
Yeah, he was a
Absolutely
good
awesome.
dude. I had a lot of fun with him. He was a voice on Cars 2.
Cars 3.
Cars 3.
He
There's
was
3
on-
of them?
Yeah. He's in Cars
I gotta
3.
get caught up. I gotta watch it.
Magnum PI. He's done a lot of cameos. Same Magnum PI as Eddie George was in also. Wild.
Fun
I watched
fact.
a couple clips.
Fun fact.
Guy's got some ability.
Yeah. And he knew how to chop it up with the boys.
Yeah. And that's always a weird thing for us is when we're meeting somebody we don't know a whole lot about. How are they going to act? Is it more going to be me and Will having fun than trying to figure out questions? It was a great conversation the whole way through, man. It was a really good time. We got to have him on again.
Subscribe, drop comments, do all the things. Big hugs, tiny kisses.
Big golf guy?
Yeah, I love. I got to play out there earlier this year, actually.
Really?
I hear it's awesome.
Stop, man.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I heard that Troubadour is like a place that's like country clubs for people that don't like country clubs.
Yeah, it's like all those Discovery properties are that way.
Right.
Like there's one here in Vegas. I mean, they're all over the world. But yeah, like you said, country club for people who hate country clubs.
Mhm.
It's a whole new way to do it.
Is it like you get to not like dress down, but you don't have to be.
You can dress
fully-
however you want.
Just however you want. Like
Right.
Ernest goes out there and he'll
Is
be
that Vrabel? Is that where
flip-flops,
Vrabel
shorts.
goes?
No, he's at Richland. That's country club.
Yeah,
That's
Braves.
collared shirt tucked in.
Yeah,
You know, Braves big. He's a big boss though. Like,
Yeah, he's a big swing and dick type of
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Like I got to make sure people know that I have money. Look at my $25,000 entry fee to this place. Are you part of a country club?
I am. Yeah.
There you go. What a great way to
Yeah,
start
yeah,
your show.
I know. Just an asshole. Over here being a part of a
Just
country
a-
club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What got you into country club life? I know we're here for NASCAR, and also, by the way, I saw your clips on Magnum PI. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
That's badass.
I appreciate that. That was fun. What got me into country clubs? Well, I really am not into the country club scene. I'm more into I like golfing.
Yeah.
So you just needed to be like I just can't play public courses anymore. I mean, everyone golfs now.
It's just
So
not
it's like
for you.
you're gonna take 5 hours to play golf. I just
Yeah.
can't do that. So
How often you go off throughout the year?
I don't know. Race season, it gets tricky. I try to go at least once a week, maybe.
Mhm.
If I usually get like one day to myself during the week, and I'll try to get around in.
Yeah.
But I don't like the country. I don't like ever go in. I just go play
Yeah.
golf.
Yeah, you go up,
Yeah.
get the cart,
Yeah.
rip around a little bit.
Yeah,
What is like golf is a lot of drinking. Do you get some
Yeah,
drinking in while you're in
yeah.
race season?
While I'm racing.
While you're not in race season, in the one day you have off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You get some drinking
Yeah,
in
yeah.
game
Oh,
day.
yeah.
All right.
Oh, like if I had to go 8 months during the season without drinking, I don't know what I'd do.
Be a tough-
Boys
yeah,
get
be a
after.
tough
Does your
sled.
team get after? Like, are you guys? Is the camaraderie high?
My boys my 12 guys are absolutely just to burn it down. They just got out here today, and I think they're still out they're on Broadway right now. Just we're letting it rip.
Getting
They're
after
going
it.
to be on the parade float, and I don't even know what state they're going to be in.
Yeah, the pit crew guys are like the offensive line.
Yeah.
They just kind of seem
Yeah.
like they get after it.
Yeah,
and they're
so
just rowdy cats.
My gas man, he played for the Panthers for a little bit. He was a tight end.
Really?
Chris Conklin, yeah. So we have a few ex-NFL guys. We have some baseball guys. All the pit crew over the wall guys, they're all ex-athletes pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if Paul's here. Do you know Paul Swan?
Swan? Yeah. I don't know if he's here or not.
Yeah, I wonder if he's here. He's somebody with this, like the first kind of person we've kind of met in the NASCAR community that's really embraces nothing but big dick energy. Like he's got the chest hair out.
Yeah.
He's just got his vibes. He wants to hit push-ups.
Incredibly
like,
beautiful green eyes.
Yeah. I mean,
like it's just like
guy.
kind of get
Yeah,
lost
I
in
know.
it a little bit.
God.
Yeah.
Looking dude.
Yeah.
He's always got a little bit of grease on him, but
Yeah,
it's kind
yeah.
of like it can get placed for you a little bit more.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
just a wild man. Is he? When we met him, it was like, okay, this is the guy. He went to NASCAR 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. Are you talking about we did?
No, just you, because 1 year I didn't
Yeah.
make it. So 2
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago, he goes, he's like, Paul Swanson. You got to know this guy, Paul Swanson. Big dick energy. Just keeps talking him up.
Yeah.
And usually when you talk to your buddies and you're like, hey, you put it up here, when you really experience it, it's not as high as you
Yeah.
think. I met him and it almost exceeded
It exceeds it.
the
Yeah.
expectation. Does he have like a legacy in the NASCAR world of being the guy, the
got
big
like
dick
a-
energy guy?
You know him that way?
I know him.
I don't know. I know Paul fairly decent, but yeah, he's like that label guy,
Mhm.
BDE guy.
Yeah, we
All
have
time.
BDE.
I
There
mean,
we
you'll-
go.
You'll walk down pit road before the race and like they're setting up pit stalls, and he'll have his fire suit unzipped.
All the way
yeah.
down, bro.
I'm like, bro, that's awesome. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it.
We were curious. We're like, man, we wonder if Paul Swan, if his legacy goes outside of just, we'll see if his brand, if he's known around the NASCAR community.
Yeah, literally, we thought to ourselves, maybe we can get to that part of the conversation, but why not start in the first 60 seconds on the podcast? Hey, tell us about Paul
Yeah.
immediately.
Hey, this is a shout out for him. This is building his.
He's gonna love it. He's
He's
gonna
a big
be all
Bussin
about it.
guy too.
Yeah.
He's about Bussin. With when you're in the situation you were going into the cup and like the 4-way tie type thing, all that, like how do rivalries playing into that? Like who is your big rival while you're like throughout your
Between us
career?
four or through my career?
Throughout your career. We'll start there and we'll incrementally go down.
I don't really know. I feel like I've been lucky. I haven't had anyone like I really despise.
Mhm.
Like you'll have kind of run-ins with some guys every now and then. Some guys kind of they'll hate each other for years and years. I haven't really been that way. I'd say more my rivalry is like my buddies who I grew up racing with. Like we're all good friends. You know, Chase Elliott and I, Bubba Wallace and I, we grew up together. You know, we started racing together when we were like 9, 10 years old. So I feel like they're kind of like your
Is their
rivals.
family situation the same? You obviously come from a pedigree of racers.
Chase is it. You know, Bill Elliott drove. Chase's dad. Bubba doesn't come from a racing family. Like his parents never raced. He just started when he was young. And he and I actually first started, when we were like 10 years old together. I remember us growing up together. But I feel like that's my rivalry is my buddies.
You're just
wanna beat
trying to
you
like,
guys.
you're just trying to like
But
beat
you-
them.
you
Maybe
race
not
each
be
other-
too loud about it, but
Yeah, you
until
brag a
you
little
win
bit.
and you're like,
Yeah, a little bit. But it's not too bad. We all support each other. But you want to beat those guys more than anyone else, I think.
Mhm.
Your buddies.
yeah. Do you have? Are there guys that are just known like, oh, this dude's an asshole?
I think we can all be that way.
Yeah.
In someone's
What's
mind.
been your asshole moment?
Because
You have an
see the
asshole moment?
clips of dudes swinging with helmets on, which they need to.
If you
Just
have
the
a
etiquette
talking
is
to.
a little off. Like as a fan, like listen, I'm a dumb NASCAR fan, but when you see a couple bumps in the road, you're like, oh yeah, you kind of want some
Yeah,
demolition
you want
derby
that.
type.
You want
shit.
the Missouri and you's like, oh
yeah, the Missouri, yeah.
yeah.
And
I like that.
you guys obviously like there's like some lines that get crossed.
There are some lines that get crossed, but it just kind of depends of how like far you cross that line.
Hey, here we go. We do
go.
we do pet peeves. We do like shout out, no free shout out, pet peeve of the week.
Yeah.
What's a pet peeve in the NASCAR realm to where you're just like it's kind of an unspoken law that goes down when crossed, it's kind of legal, but also it's like we all know that that's bullshit.
Oh man,
That's a good question.
shit.
Solid question.
That is a good question. Like unwritten rule kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like in
yeah.
hockey, there's like things you should and shouldn't do, but it's
Right.
not in the rule book.
Not in the rule book.
Like you might go up and say something to somebody or get in their face knowing like he's gonna, it's not gonna make any sense to everybody else, but
Yeah.
he knows what I'm speaking to.
I think the more of it, it's like the athletes that are involved, right? Like in the NFL, you guys had stuff, right? Like, all right, you don't do this, you can do this. This is not cool. And on the track, I feel like between drivers, it's like cheap shots, right? Like running into somebody, throwing them on purpose, like for no reason. I'm sure it's the same way as like getting a leg block or something from the behind,
Tripping
right?
a guy or
Like,
something like
tripping,
that.
like,
Going low.
going low, right?
Yeah.
And hurting somebody, taking a chance to hurt somebody. I think it's kind of the same way in our world. Like athletes, the drivers, what's fucked up and what's not, right? And I think it's the same with every sport. But yeah, I think on the track, Like if someone runs into you for no reason, you're like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
Have you done it before?
oh yeah. I mean, you'll do it. I mean, that's everyone does it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's
Kinda
just a
fucked
matter
up,
of
but
how many
I
times.
do it.
Yeah. I mean, everyone does it. Everyone has those things. They're like, yeah, it's kind of messed up. I do it, but I do it anyway.
What is there a specific situation in your career where you're like, I'm intentionally going to do something here because it's been pissing me off?
And afterwards, you're like, I shouldn't have done it, but emotions were high, and I
Yeah.
was.
It is
I
what
would
it is.
say I've said things I wish I didn't say. I
Mhm.
don't think not that I can think of right now, of like done an action that I'm like, I shouldn't have done that.
Mhm.
I feel like it's more things you say. Like, I maybe shouldn't have said that.
What's something you said?
Oh, just like fuck that guy, or like that guy's a dick,
Yeah.
or something, like. But as far as like actions, like I don't think I've ever done anything. I regret that.
Yeah.
But words, I feel like you can regret pretty easy.
Because when in
Yeah, I don't
NASCAR,
know
you
that.
can go. I went to the PIR as a kid with my grandparents. They were big into NASCAR, and you get like the walkie talkies or like the little monitors with the headphones
Yeah.
where you can listen to the pit crews. Are there like two different like wavelengths or whatever they are, different channels?
No, you would have been if you bought.
I've been
that,
able to listen to
you
you as
would've
an 8-year-old kid
heard
go fuck that guy.
drivers. Yeah, you've been here.
Oh,
able to
that's
hear drivers.
awesome.
Yeah. So if you rent a radio as a fan, yeah, you'll be able to hear anyone you want to hear
Mhm.
and hear all the good stuff, the unfiltered.
That's what you want.
Would be
That's,
sick.
that's what you want.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like hot mics,
Mhm.
right? Like when NBA and NFL do the hot mic stuff. Like I like listening to that, and I feel like it's the same way
Mhm.
with radios with us.
When you said like you started racing at 9, 10 years old. Obviously, you can't get a driver's license till you're 16, but you come from a pedigree. Like when you were born, growing up, were you just like, I'm going to be a racer? That's what I'm going to do. Was that like the number one goal your whole life?
I mean, I grew up around it. Dad racing before I was born, so I just grew up around that stuff, and I wanted to do it, but like my dad never pushed me to do anything. Dad was always, do you want to do it? And I remember like every step we took, like into different cars or series, he's like, do you sure you want to do this? Like, cause it's a big commitment, right? If you're going to half-ass do something while you're doing it. So dad was always good at that. So yeah, I was lucky. This is always what I wanted to do because I just wanted to do what my dad did. And I was really lucky to be able to do it. But I never really, I played other sports, but I faced facts like, hey, I was like 5'6" till I got to high school or until I graduated high school. I'm like, and I played basketball in that time, baseball. I was like, all right, I have to list my career opportunities. I'm going to be like 5'9". I can't jump very high.
Mm.
Racing's probably going to be my
You're not
career.
the right
yeah.
skin color for other
It's-
sports.
Right.
Yeah. Hockey, football, basketball. I'm not physically adequate enough to do that. So I'm like, I'm going to go do the racing side. And I'm pretty good at the racing stuff. And I wasn't very good at the other stuff either. So yeah.
How sick is it that you did want to do this your whole life, and now you were the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion?
Well, it's neat. Growing up around it, I admired those guys who, were champions because I was at the track with my dad and I got to be around those guys, the Jimmy Johnsons and Jeff Gordons and all those guys. And just wanted to be that person. So it's kind of hard to believe, if you have a dream as a kid and you finally accomplish it and you're like, damn, it's kind of all come full circle. And then you think back on all the people that helped you out along the way. And it's definitely a neat feeling.
Yeah, that's I love that stuff.
When you're a kid, obviously you look up to your dad, but was there a driver that you're like, almost would make your dad feel like, man, he thinks that guy's cooler than me?
Yeah, I mean, I loved, Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth. Those guys were kind of like the guys I loved. Besides my dad, I loved watching those guys race.
You realize what kind of bus you're sitting on, right?
It's what
8.
bus is it?
Number 8, Dale Earnhardt.
Is it?
Yeah,
It's the
Oh,
junior bus.
yeah.
I see you got a Gordon sticker, you got Kenseth sticker.
This bus
Yeah,
actually
good
used
stuff.
to
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
tailgates.
Really?
And we found it in the back of a Wedgwood Houston parking lot,
Oh, I didn't know
broken
that.
down and everything. But it used
That's
to travel to all the NASCAR events.
That's badass. A lot
Yeah.
of history in here.
Yeah.
So not a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan.
No, I love Dale.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
How much?
I lived with Dale.
Say something nice about Dale.
I lived on
It's
Dale's
okay.
property for like 3 years.
Is it the farm? Is it the old like Western
Oh,
town?
yeah.
damn. We hear stories.
I
I
know.
lived right across the woods from there.
He
So
said he was going to invite us to that like what last year?
to the town.
Yeah, every year he invites us, but
You got
yeah,
to
the
the
town.
Whiskey River town. Yeah. That
You
was
lived
fun.
there for 3 years.
I lived there, yeah. So funnest times of my life. I was like a rookie in the Cup Series. I'm 21 years old, living by myself in my house I'm renting for the first time. And like Dale's 1,000 yards through the woods. And Dale was still racing at the time. So we would get done with these races on Sunday night, get home at 10:30, and I would go drive a four-wheeler through the woods to Dale's house and get absolutely wrecked
Yo, that
for like
is
6 hours
that's
and
a
then
story right
one
there.
eye a four-wheeler through the woods back to my place. That was like the funnest years of my life. So Dale's so much fun, and Yeah, it's cool. This is an 8 bus. It's big.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
time.
You were rattling off names. I was like, oh, he hadn't said Dale yet. I wonder if he's
No,
not a Dale guy.
sorry, Dale. I was a big fan of
Hey,
you.
that
And you're
is-
awesome to me.
That is awesome. Taking a 4-wheeler.
Just whipping through.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go over to
Saw stuff
Dale's.
at your buddy's house. I'm like, I'm gonna get out of here.
Well,
and
like,
kind of
no,
just going through the woods.
Like, no worries. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just in the woods. I'm driving through the trails. It's all
Did
good.
you ever get lost?
I think the first time I did it, I got lost.
No way.
Everything looks the same.
Yeah.
It's the woods and it's dark, and I'm seeing 8 of everything. So it was
Pulling the number too.
yeah.
It was rough.
It's
Yeah.
the whiskey town. It seems like it exceeds the hype it already gets.
Yeah, it's slowed down a little bit. You know, they also got a couple kids now, so it's
He's
slowing
getting
down. But there was some wild stuff that happened in the town that was that I can't say.
No, you're fine.
I can't say.
Oh, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
You brought up a guy's name, and I'm not super well versed in NASCAR, but Tony Stewart.
Yeah.
He was considered a shit stirrer kind of guy, right?
A little
Was
bit.
that, was that who Dale would get after with?
I
Where he
don't
almost
remember.
swung
I
on
just remember
somebody?
literally going to PR with my grandparents and being like, Tony Stewart, that guy's a piece of shit. And I'd be like, yeah, grandpa.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I literally, and I just, that always stuck with me.
Yeah.
Any
you
friend who
brought
brings
that
up
up, like, it's a core
NASCAR,
memory.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tony was. I mean, he was a fiery personality. He was always great to me and my family. I was a little tiny kid, and I remember him being great to me, and he was awesome to race with. But yeah, he had that fire in him, and I think like in the early 2000s, it was like the height of like him getting into a bunch of disagreements. But Tony's a good guy.
Mhm.
He's a hell of a person.
When you were growing up, did you always want to drive for Ford?
I didn't really care who I drove for, honestly. Growing up, like, you know, you're just trying to make it. You're just trying to have a job.
Mhm.
And, you know, I've been with Ford for the last 10 years now. 2013, we started working with them, and they've been fantastic. So I really haven't worked with anybody at the professional level, like a Toyota or Chevy.
Mhm.
Shout out Chevy.
You know, I know, unfortunately, I see the sign back here, but no, Ford's been, you know, they've been great family to me. And, but yeah, as a kid, I didn't really care. But now, obviously, you do.
Mhm.
But I just wanted to have a job as a kid. I
Yeah.
didn't care who I drove for.
How do you make it? I apologize for being an idiot on all the racing NASCAR, but I also enjoy it because I feel like a newborn learning a lot of new stuff. How do you make it professionally in
Yeah.
NASCAR? Like, obviously with football you get
Yeah,
drafted.
you go play high school, then you go to college, then hopefully
Yeah.
get drafted.
Yeah.
Pretty linear.
Yeah, I feel like the steps are a little bit different. There's less similarities. It was like we have little league, right? Like there's local tiny track. Like I started when I was 9, so like go karts, all those stuff. You know, that's just like a little league kid getting going, right? And t-ball or something. And so there's different steps you take as you get older. I'd say like our, you know, AAA, AA is like trucks or Xfinity series.
Mhm.
And then you hope you get noticed and you make it up to the big leagues, you know, of the Cup series. And so I think some of it's similar. You're not going to school for this stuff. Like there's no scholarships for it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just having good people around you. Good sponsors obviously are huge on it. But yeah, there's feeder series that you have to do well in to get noticed by an owner and give you a job. So
And I wonder what it's like too. Like if somebody's got like an instinct or an eye for driving, but they're just not in a faster vehicle. Like in the Xfinity, or if like you're trying to get noticed, but you're not winning even those events.
Yeah.
But how somebody that has it might not get identified just because they might not have the
Their
right,
vehicle might not be as good. They
yeah,
might
or the
be
right
sponsored
environment or
by this
people.
that happens all the time. Yeah, I mean, there's people that I think are great race car drivers, but they haven't gotten the shot that I think they deserve. And that's at any level, whether it's the NASCAR level, you're in a lower tier car, or the local short track level. I know guys I grew up racing with that were twice my age that were unbelievable race car drivers, but they just never got a shot.
Mhm.
Yeah, that stuff happens all the time.
Obviously, you're very proven at this point, but when you were coming up, did you feel like you got maybe like a little more of a helping hand from your dad?
Yeah, you know, when I started, you know, Dad was still racing when I started racing, and really through my late teenage years, Dad was still racing. So he wasn't at every track with me every weekend. He had his own job. So, but I did feel like, you know, growing up, it's like, oh, that's Blaney's kid, you know, that's Dave's son. See how he is, right? Is he worth a shit or something like that? And so, yeah, I think there was a little bit of that pressure. It's like, all right, I got to live up to what my dad can do and, you know, try to make it like he did. So there was a little bit of that as a kid, but I think you grow out of it. Like as you get older, you realize you're your own person and you kind of do things your own way and start living by your life instead of your parents, right? Or someone who came before you.
Was that a difficult process to get to that point though? Fighting the pressure and then being like, okay, I got to be my own self here in the same avenue that my father made.
A little bit. I feel like you felt like there was always so many eyes on you.
Mhm.
Like, I got to do good. I got to prove myself. I don't want to look like a clown. So I feel like, yeah, that was a big thing growing up, trying to overcome that as a kid. That's hard to overcome. You're already kind of shy and nervous as a kid. And then you have all these eyes on you and you're having to prove yourself and live up to expectations. That can be a lot on a kid. And luckily it all worked out.
Was it one of those things too, like when you would win and if your dad, your old man wasn't there, like you're calling to be like, hey, I won.
Dad's the first guy I call after every race, even nowadays. Like it's just that's how it's been for 20 years. And that's just how it is, So he's just, and the role has changed over the years. Like I used to call my dad for advice and now it's just calling him just to call him, and talk to him. Just, it's almost routine. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
he's still the first one on my phone. So
That is cool.
Yeah.
Your dad was in his prime right now. Who would win in the race?
I've always thought my dad was the best race car driver I've ever seen. And I think whether that's just a son in me, admiring your parents, I think dad's the best one that's ever lived, and that's just how it's always been. So I feel like if dad was in his prime, if we were both 30 years old going at it, I feel like he would
Really?
he would beat me. He would tell you opposite. He would tell you that I would beat him. But dad to me will always and always has been, always will be the best one out there.
I feel like with
Who would win? Does anybody back there have an idea?
That's good. Put him on the spot. Yeah,
That's
you
what
put him
I'm-
on the spot.
Yeah. Like you
Who
just
would
wonder
win?
if somebody's sitting back there like,
Yeah.
Actually, Ryan would dust
Ryan might
his
edge,
ass.
he might edge him
Old
out.
man wouldn't
Yeah.
stand a chance.
Dave's got that. My dad still races. My dad's 61 and he still races dirt sprint cars.
That
My
is
dad's
awesome.
badass. Yeah,
That
he
is
gets after
wild.
it. Yeah.
Because there is that, I feel like with father son, I have 2 girls, but father son like dynamics, there's always like a point in life where it's like, kid beats you in shooting hoops, kid beats you on air hockey or something.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have one of those moments?
Yeah. We were a big ping pong family in my household.
Yeah.
And I remember I got to the age I started beating my dad in ping pong and like horse,
Oh,
and
That had to piss him
basketball.
off,
And
dude.
it just grinded his gears,
Dude, I feel like ping pong. I've seen father sons go at it, and like when the son's taking over, like
tough
it
sport.
is painful for
Yeah.
the old man.
Yeah.
dude.
I feel like that's anything. Your girls might do it to you. When they start beating you in anything, you're like, gosh,
I'll make sure.
I'll make sure
I'll
of
make
it.
What do you guys want to go out in the field and block? You
Yeah,
guys
you
think you can beat me?
All
Let's
right.
go.
Get the pads
Don't play
on.
ball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
Honey,
the pads
the
on.
pads out. We're gonna
Doing
get this thing
one-on-ones.
going.
Yeah.
Do one-on-ones outside.
What's been the biggest win outside of being the NASCAR Cup Series champion? The biggest win of your career where you feel like, yo, I'm on my way. Biggest moment where you've had the biggest high of winning.
Yeah, I feel like it's either your first one. I won my first cup race in 2017. So I feel like, then it's like, all right, I feel like I'm kind of here. Right? It was my second year in the NASCAR deal. And I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm kind of established. Like I've finally won a race, all that. Either that one or we won at Martinsville to get us to Phoenix this year. I grew up just south of Martinsville, Virginia. That was like a home track for me.
Mhm.
So I think winning at my home track, winning there to get to Phoenix, that's won us a championship. I was pretty fired up on that one. So I think either one of those two is top one.
How high up is Talladega Nights on your list of movies?
It's up there. I like Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
I really do. I usually tell people it's 95% true.
Ooh,
Really?
I love that.
Good pull. Good
They're
pull.
like, is Talladega Nights accurate? I'm like 95% of it.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
based
that's
on my
awesome.
life.
Based on my life. Yeah, actually.
What's the 5%? When he's in the wheelchair, pretending like he doesn't have his legs don't work.
All the shifting. All the shifting. Yeah. Or John Gerard drinking a fucking macchiato or something while he's out there racing.
You
Remember
don't do that?
No.
You never do a
Surprisingly
shake
not.
and bake out there?
Shake and bake?
You guys got cool handshakes.
Sometimes. Yeah, we
You
have
and your
cool
buddies?
A few of us have cool handshakes.
If you want to be the racer you claim to be, you need to have a secret handshake with every one of the guys in your picture.
Yeah. It's like LeBron has it with every guy on his team.
Yeah.
It's like,
Most
I don't know.
quarterbacks, you see Josh Allen with
Yeah.
the Bills. He's
I don't
dapping
know.
everybody up, doing all these cool things.
I don't know how they learned that.
It's like they're throwing gang signs out
There's
there.
so many people on the roster. How do you remember all the handshakes? Did you guys have handshakes with everyone on your
We
roster?
got a couple. We got one. You want to
Yeah.
see it real
We
quick?
do.
It's just a little. That's a little
That's a
something.
small one.
It's just
Bigger
that
ones
was
are a little
tiny.
bit more.
There's a more elaborate one we haven't seen for see each other for a long time. There's a big hug involved. It's
Yeah.
it's
So
very
you
special.
choreographed it though, like you practiced it and everything.
Yeah, my daughters and I, we have secret handshakes.
Nice.
Yeah, we
nice.
rip it, we
I think maybe with my kids, I'll when I do have them, I'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
make a handshake.
You were talking earlier. You said sometimes on the shake and bake that stuff happens.
We don't like say
Oh,
shake and
what
bake in the
question
car.
is
I'm just
You
thinking.
guys actually
I'm
do
thinking
handshakes?
if team members are out there and it's like,
You talking about the slingshot?
right. Yeah. Ryan's got the faster car. Yeah, slingshot. Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah.
Your boys set each other
Hey
up.
man, you know what? You got the gas. I gotta hit the pit soon, but I'll ride you out so that way you can climb up.
No, I mean we don't talk to each other during the race. Like if us three were drivers, like I can't talk to you.
Why?
Like, well, just different teams, different radio
I
frequencies.
can't just
Like,
chime
I
in, but
can't-
hey, Ryan, you're doing
No.
a hell of a job, man. I'm going to
No.
try to hold these boys
No.
off back here.
No, you can't do
Team
that.
guy.
Can't
That's
do that.
cool guy. That's the guy you want racing
That's
for
the
you.
guy we need. I
Yeah.
need you. No, well, we can't talk to each other on the radios, different drivers, but what'd you say, the slingshot?
Yeah.
There's a variation of it. Like if we go to like Talladega or something like drafting tracks, like you'll see people do that, but you're not like, it's not as choreographed as like,
When you say drafting,
cow.
tracks,
yeah.
is that like longer straightaways?
Yeah.
That you get the speeds up
Daytona,
higher?
Talladega, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
them big boys.
big racetracks.
Are those the kind of tracks you like to race?
Um,
Like, what's the perfect race for you? You're like, yes, I'm going to my spot here.
the short tracks are great. Like
Oh, yeah?
Martinsville, like a tiny half mile. Like that's a tiny racetrack. The bigger one, I mean, our tracks range from half mile to 2.5 miles. So massive differences. Well, like which one did you go to?
I went to PIR and the one in Nashville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're PIR in Nashville, they're like just over a mile. So you imagine these places are over twice the size of like Nashville.
Yeah.
These big places. Yeah, that's where you see that a little bit more.
And you like the short tracks, like from a technical standpoint, is it more difficult?
Just technical, yeah.
The
a
better
lot more.
driver shows out in the shorter tracks.
Yeah, I think so. And all of us grew up racing those.
I see you.
I'm out here kind of cooking right now. You see
Talking
me
shop.
kind of working. I might get behind the wheel.
You might. You
think I
might.
could do it?
You got to get out
Am
there,
I too
man.
tall?
You are taller than I thought you'd be, though.
6'7", brother.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
I
length.
thought you were like 6'3".
I was hoping that
And,
actually like 6'7" to me is like kind of like zoo animal worthy. It's like, well, it's too tall to me.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think that 6'2", 6'3" range is just
Yeah.
perfect.
Like once you're out of your sport, right? Like
yeah,
that's
now I'm
too
just
tall.
kind of like this Neanderthal walking around the earth.
Well, and then everyone sees you out at a bar. You're like, everyone probably comes up to you like, what do you do? You got to
Yeah.
do something.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I
What
was.
team do you play for?
Yeah, the good news is I was able to play for a
That
team.
definitely
I
happens,
think about
too.
those guys that are my height that didn't make it. And it's like, you just got to go your whole life telling people, no, I never played
Right.
sports.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a nice little dub for me to walk around in. And I've also lost 60 pounds. People are like, you look familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or did
Yeah.
you play basketball?
Yeah, I got baseball in Vegas a couple weeks ago. You
Really?
play baseball? I go, I
Nice.
got to gain some weight. That's when I knew. Hey,
Oh,
listen,
wow.
we gotta put some LBs on.
Yeah,
Let these people
baseball,
know. I'm
man.
I
out
noticed
here.
you're left-handed. Are you a pitcher?
Yeah. From organized sports, did you ever play them? Did you ever want to do them?
Yeah, I played baseball. I played basketball. I loved it. I love playing basketball the most, probably. My uncle, it's my dad's brother. He's 6'4". He's in the West Virginia Hall of Fame for basketball. Got drafted by the Lakers in the 80s.
Oh, shit.
Like did summer ball with like Magic and shit. And hurt him.
That's wild.
Yeah, his knees were destroyed and ended up going racing. But yeah, I love basketball just because I grew up around it. My family, I love baseball. I got hit in the face with a pitch one time and I was like, yeah, I'm done playing baseball. I'm not doing
How
this
old were you?
anymore. 10.
Dude,
11.
we had a
I'm like-
conversation yesterday. And I
You
literally
did.
like 8, 9, 10 years old. I quit hockey once the checking started.
Yeah.
Baseball, I'd always step away when I swung.
Yeah.
Ground balls came. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I was like the biggest pussy growing up
Yeah.
of all time.
Oh,
And so I share that with you. We have something in common.
yeah, and we're just both pussies.
I share that with you, brother. Here we
What's
are.
your favorite sport to watch? Outside of, obviously, you're a NASCAR guy.
Yeah, I love watching football. Probably college and professional kind of equally. Like I'm from Ohio, so I watch Ohio State and
Ooh.
That was a rough one. the other
I
day.
would disagree. I would say it's the opposite. It was
I know.
great.
I know. I saw your sweatshirt. I knew.
Yeah, I went to Michigan.
Yeah.
Just we won't get into it.
I know.
Yeah, we won't get into it.
And then I'll watch like I'm a Bengals fan, Browns, and then I'll watch Panthers.
God, you are picking
Because
some
I live
tough
there.
games.
Well, I live in Charlotte, and then I'm from Ohio, but Bengals I felt good about this year, but it's been a
I know
disaster,
until
man.
Joey B went
I know,
down,
that was a
man.
tough gig, man.
Cleveland's actually not that bad this year.
They're not bad, but
With some
again,
hurt
it's like-
people too.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they're actually decent.
Defense, run the ball well.
Yeah.
You never know.
So,
It's a real fan.
what do you guys watch mostly now? Like, what's your go-to?
Football.
Is it
We-
more college or professional? You guys?
Man, I don't
Personally,
know.
I like watching college better.
Yeah.
It's more, I feel like because I'm way more removed from college, it's kind of like fun to watch like just the different talent levels and guys. It's like more pure. In the league, it's like the world is built to be a 500 league. Like every team is built a certain way. And there's obviously your outliers. And it's for me, it's like on college Saturdays, you're able to like more mistakes happen, more things can swing one way or another. And I think that's awesome.
Yeah. No, that's why I like watching. We have what are the Cannonballers? Like a AAA, single A? We have a single A team by the house, baseball, and I love watching those games because you see mistakes. You know, there's a lot of people screwing up, and that part to me is kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, it's the bloopers of the game that are kind of like, you guys will get there.
Well, it's like you're human, you know,
Yeah,
like you make
yeah.
mistakes too. Like the pros are so good, like they
Mhm.
rarely see mistakes, right?
Right.
So it's fun
Like
to see
NFL,
that.
I like watching like the individuals more than
Yeah.
everything else. Like college, team spirit. Team spirit.
Right.
Live and die with the squad.
Yeah.
Which at this point we're dead.
Yeah.
Nebraska
What?
kid.
Oh, Nebraska?
Nebraska. Yeah.
It's been a rough go.
Yeah.
We're about to be done.
He did. I mean, he did say he has a parade where he's going to be drinking
Like
and
an hour.
driving in the parade. For anybody who's down
Driving
there
in
and
the
listens to
parade.
this, make sure to check
Real
it.
quick before you go, what opportunities to do acting, to be in cars? Like, how did that all
yeah,
happen,
dude.
dude?
Yeah. I was in Cars 3. I did the Magnum PI episode.
How sick is
A
that?
couple of Magnum PI.
Eddie
was
George was in that episode.
Yeah.
sick. Yeah. Who was that one guy that was in it? The guy
The
from
Asian
The
guy.
Hangover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I
guy.
forget his name.
Bobby Lee's older brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who we're talking about
Yeah,
right now.
yeah. That guy.
The Hangover guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I love doing that stuff. The Magnum PI thing was sick because they film in Honolulu, and I was actually in Maui on vacation, and they called me and they were like, "Hey, you want to come film?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll just get on a plane and island jump here." And we filmed that, and I went back on my vacation. But hopefully, I'll do more of that stuff. I enjoy doing it. I enjoy seeing the behind the scenes that go into that stuff. It's always super cool to me. All the people that are involved in it. So yeah, we'll never know. I've been trying really hard I was trying to get in one of the Star Wars sequel
I
movies.
saw
but
that was one of your
I never got in there.
interests with
Yeah.
Star Wars. We could talk shop on Star Wars all day
Yeah, the
long.
good news about Star Wars, they're going to make a billion more of those
I know.
things. They're going to have time.
Hey,
said, like-
hey, he's not a Star Wars guy.
No,
It's not that I'm not a Star Wars guy. I just haven't
He's not a
taken the
Star
time
Wars
to go
guy.
watch Star Wars. So technically, I'm not a
it's a
Star
lot
Wars
of time.
guy.
It's a lot of time you gotta dedicate to
It's
it.
like the Marvel universe. It's like,
Yeah.
there's so many at this point. I can't get into it.
Yeah, I've given up on Marvel a
I have
little bit.
kids. I got a wife.
Same.
Yeah.
I got this job.
I got
Yeah.
shit going
I got
on.
shit
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I sit down and watch 36 movies.
Right.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
but we'll
And
get you out of here.
You got Blippi.
Hang on.
You got Blippi
Dude
and
wipe.
Shark Dude going on
Yeah,
all the time
exactly.
too.
Dude wipe shittiest moment segment. What's been the shittiest moment of your career?
Do you use dude wipes?
The shittiest.
You should.
Go ahead and grab that bag right
I think
there.
I should. Shea butter, smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth.
None of
You're
those,
wiping regular
none of-
TP, bro. That thing, that's caveman
Yeah.
stuff right
None
there.
of the little
There's no TP anymore.
No,
Just
the dude wipes is where it's at.
those
Yeah,
little
and they're
dingleberries you
forceful.
get out in the shower. No more with dude wipes.
Nothing.
None.
They would be good after a race.
There you
Oh, yeah,
go.
dingleberries after a race?
The shittiest moment of my career.
I love how you went over that. Flew right over that comment. What's the worst moment of my career?
I don't know. I hit really hard in Nashville this year at this track earlier this year. Like really, really hard. That was probably the shittiest moment. Hard hits are always usually pretty bad.
Mhm.
Takes you a little bit to get over them and recover. But yeah, I'd say that was probably the shittiest.
From a
moment.
physical standpoint, or you're just like,
Both mentally, physically,
why
Not-
mentally?
like
Is it like an embarrassing thing, or you're just like kind of like a little gun shy when you get back out there?
I wouldn't say
Oh,
gun shy. I'd say more like
Yeah, like are you on fire? Like
like thinking straight. You
Yeah.
know, like
Uh,
that stuff. Like
Is that
am I
one of the most
good?
common injuries with NASCAR?
For us, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say we've done a really good job at it. We've gotten way better over the years, and we're working at it. But that's like the biggest thing in our world right now, safety wise, that we're trying to get sorted out.
Mhm.
And that's with everything. I mean, it's hard to fix that, but that's the biggest thing that we work on, trying to fix concussions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, brother, hey, thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
man.
thanks for
This
having
has
me,
been a
man.
lot of
Appreciate
fun.
the helmet
Yeah.
too. That's
Yeah, no
awesome.
problem.
That's gonna
No
stay there for a long time.
All right, good.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for bringing him along.